Leave it like that, leaning forward. Back on there. Like that, and then put it out there. Yeah. And then look at it. Yeah.
Good evening and welcome to Eyes Up Mother Brown for Manchester United versus West Ham United. It is our penultimate game of what has been a particularly long and arduous season. And West Ham are tantalisingly close to being safe from the threat of relegation. We're not entirely safe yet. A huge goal swing in Aston Villa or Watford's favour could yet see us relegated. However, we're hoping that that won't be the case, but this is West Ham United. Who knows? You never know what's going to happen. Joining me live on the stream tonight to begin with are Bristol Hammer FC.
How you doing?
How you doing, Briz? And live and direct from the local Rubber Dub, we have the Pink Palermo and Co.
Evening all. There is a house in Old Brentwood they call the Rising Sun, and I would urge anyone local to get down here and buy a beer. Support your local pub. That's what I say.
And you might even get on the live stream with Pinky as well. You never know. How's that for an added bonus? Thank you, Pinky. We are hoping to be joined at some point by Gnome and Rio and possibly somebody else. We'll see how it goes. But with it being a relatively early kickoff tonight, everyone's trying to get home from work. So it's all a bit of a scramble, apart from those of us who, of course, are already at home, or in Pinky's case, with his feet up comfortably in the rising sun over there. Lovely pub it is too. Bristol Hammer, of course, feet up on the sofa. Briz is going to be keeping an eye on the forum for us tonight, as well as Rio when he arrives. We've just got Gnome coming in to join us now. But before we go into all that, we're going to have a quick look at the team. The teams are in. We know who's going to be playing. Let's hear now from Pinky to see how the two sides line up. Mr. Palermo, the teams, please, if you will, sir.
Well, I think it's fair to say Manchester United have played us an enormous compliment tonight because they've got all their big guns starting tonight. If you look at their starting 11, they've got De Gea in goal, who on recent form could be the weakest link. They've got Fosu, Mensah, Lindelof, Maguire and Williams in the back line. You've got Pogba and Matic sitting, and then Greenwood, Fernandes, Rashford as an attacking three, and in front of them Martial. So that's about as strong as they could be other than fullback. For the famous West Ham United tonight, who of course are going to win, we have got Lucas Fabianski in goal, Johnson at right back, Issa Diop and Ogbono at centre back, Aaron Cresswell at left back, Souček and Rice both sitting, and across the middle attacking three, Jarrad Bowen on the right, Noble in the middle, Fornals on the left, and up top leading the line alone again, Mikel Antonio. So again, consistent selection from David Moyes, and let's hope it pays dividends tonight.
Smashing stuff. Thank you, Pinky, for that. I'd like to wish a very good evening to Gnome, who's just tuned in. As you can see, how you doing, buddy?
Yes, not too bad, not too bad. Just finished work for the day, so moved everything from the kitchen table, which is my workspace, to in front of the box, which isn't.
But will be for the remainder of the evening. Hopefully, yes. It'll be a little bit more enjoyable than a day stuck behind a desk. But you never know. We shall see what happens. As Pinky has announced, West Ham are presenting an unchanged team for tonight's game. No surprise there, Pinky, really. I mean, that's par for the course, really, given the fact that we've been playing so well lately, you'd think.
Yeah, it's two ways of looking at it. You can either say the manager knows his best 11 and therefore, you know, he's picking it. The other way of looking at it is the manager doesn't have any choice because by default it's his best 11 because of the paucity of real performers in the squad. I mean, when you've got a bench that's still packed with people like Dirty Jack, who can barely get a game anywhere, and I don't expect we'll see him tonight either. So the game changes on the bench tonight. Obviously, he's got Yarmolenko there. I think he's got Felipe Anderson there to bring him on if need be. But across the back, there's not an awful lot defensively. So if we get a fullback go down early doors, I think we could be in trouble tonight.
Yes, be interesting to see how it pans out. But Briz, are you happy with what you're seeing there? Are you fairly pleased with Moyes' selection?
Yeah, I think the team almost picks itself. It'd be interesting to see if he shows his loyalty tonight to the players that are alleged to be staying, because we've heard this week that possible Yeti to Celtic, Anderson possibly out, Lanzini possibly out. So it'd be interesting to see how he manages the game in terms of substitutes,
Yeah.
and who he puts his faith in. So it may be a case that it's the same old, so we bring Yarmolenko, possibly Wilshere back on. But I'd just be interested to see if he does show his hand on that one.
Great stuff. Thank you. Gnome, your thoughts on the starting lineup? Happy with what we're seeing there tonight, perhaps?
Sorry, great.
Wait, who's that bloke who used to do that on the telly?
Norman Collier.
Norman Collier.
Yeah.
That's him. You came over all Norman Collier on us for a second there. No, thank you, Briz, for that step back into the 1970s. Gnome, are we good now? We got your audio sorted out. He's giving us the finger right now. Okay, we'll come back to Gnome in just a minute. Just having a quick look at a few stats before we start tonight's game. We got you again, Gnome. Are we back now?
Yeah, sorry about that.
No
for some
worries.
reason, I lost all audio from you, but
Good stuff. I was just asking you about the team, what you thought about the starting 11.
much as expected.
Yep.
Didn't expect any change after the last game, subject to everybody being fit and well, which
Yep.
apparently is the case. I believe the bench is unchanged as well. Is that correct?
Looks that way.
So,
think so.
Yeah, much as expected. Why not?
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. Big hello to everybody watching us live on our YouTube channel tonight. Do let us know what you think of the stream and the game as we're going along. Leave us your comments. You're welcome to post on YouTube, or you can stick it on the match thread on the KUMB Forum. Briz, and later in the evening, Rio will be keeping a close eye on everything that you're saying throughout the evening. So we look forward to reading some of your comments. Of course, we'll be reading those out throughout the show as we go along. So do get involved. Do let us know what you think of everything. Of course, let us know what you think of the team before we start. The team selection, is David Moyes right to name an unchanged 11, or should he have mixed it up a bit with a potentially difficult game against Villa on the horizon this Sunday? Anyway, we are roughly 20 minutes away from kickoff. The game, for those who are watching on TV, is being broadcast live on Sky TV, which means that once again, I'm likely to be about 45 seconds behind the rest of the team on the live commentary. So bear that in mind, please, when you're watching us. A couple of stats I want to touch on as we go into the game. This is the 143rd occasion on which West Ham and Manchester United have crossed swords in a competitive fixture. West Ham so far have won on 45 occasions. There's been 31 draws, and Manchester United have 66 wins under the belt. So they owe us a few. We've got a bit of catching up to do. So hopefully we can pick one up tonight. There was an interesting stat that Briz was telling me before the game. Briz, do you want to relay that to everyone about West Ham's form at Old Trafford?
Yeah, absolutely. So Brother Nero wrote on the forum, actually, so I've kind of nicked it from him, is that West Ham United have not scored 2 or more goals at Old Trafford since the 25th of August, 1986, in a 3-2 victory, which was 32 games ago.
And Pinky, you're not having any of that, are you? Thank you, Briz.
No, I mean, it was only 4 years ago that our board were telling us that history began 4 years ago. So I'm ignoring anything before then. We're going to write our own history, and we're getting 5 tonight. I'm not saying Antonio's getting all 5, but he's getting at least 3 of them.
We'll definitely take that. A hat trick, another hat trick for Antonio. Just touching quickly on the predictions. We did this in the latest Mod Pod on Sunday night, just to let everyone know. If you didn't tune into that, if you haven't yet, why not? Go and have a look. It's on our YouTube channel. It's a great watch. We had Matt Slater, a journalist from The Athletic, on, a Southend United fan, but it was very good to have him offer a non-biased view of West Ham United. For a change. But Matt felt that we'd lose 3-1 tonight, and Gnome echoed that with his prediction. Briz has gone for a 1-1 draw, and as have I. DL, who's not with us tonight, unfortunately, thinks West Ham are going to sneak a 3-2 win. While Pinky, of course, as he's just mentioned there, is going for a 5-0 West Ham United win with at least 3 goals for Michail Antonio. And by God, wouldn't we all take that? Let's hope that he's laughing at the end of the
And
evening.
if you're using Sendo's bookmaker, you can get 2-1 on that if you get your money on quickly.
For those who didn't tune in last week, Sendo predicted, was it Pinky? Was it the 4-0 or 3-1 that he predicted? I think it was the 4-0, wasn't it, where he predicted Antonio to score first? And what was the odds? About 110-1, was it? He got something ridiculous.
Yeah, he got 115, but it should have been
115.
about 150. You know, so I wouldn't use his bookie.
Hello to everyone who's tuning in. As lots more people coming along as we get closer to the kickoff. So that's our predictions out of the way. That's how we think it's going to go. A very, very warm welcome to member number 5 this evening. Rio, good to see you, buddy. How you doing? Just in from work? Rio's still tuning in. We'll come back to Rio in a second. It looks like he's just getting the audio on. So I'll come back to you in a minute, buddy. Get yourself sorted there.
Oh, thank you.
Of course, West Ham slipped down a position since our last outing with Brighton's 0-0 draw against Newcastle. We're back down to 15th. Is it 15th or 16th? I think we're 16th, aren't we? I haven't actually got the league table in front of me. Amateur stuff there. We are, yeah, I've got it now. So we're 16th. We can still, of course, catch Crystal Palace. Newcastle are out of reach now, given that point they took at Brighton. But we can still catch Crystal Palace, which is something that Mr. Palermo has pointed at recently. 2 wins, win tonight, beat Villa on Sunday, and we would go a point above them. Of course, that would rely on them losing their final game of the season, but you never know. If you don't aim high, you're not going to reach the stars, as they say. Pinky.
Palace have lost 7 on the spin. You know, I expect them to go and lose another one on the spin, and you pack your side with former West Ham United players. That's what you're going to get really at this stage of the season, isn't it? You know, and you know, if they were any good, they'd still be with us. So, you know, I'm backing us to finish above Palace with 2 strong wins to finish our season.
Rather disappointingly, perhaps Palace are at home to Tottenham on Sunday, so it's a question of just lesser evil, I guess, in that case. But yeah, I mean, Palace absolutely dreadful run of form, aren't they? Is that's 7? You say, Pinky? 7 defeats in a row. But shocking stuff. Anyway, so let's hope. Fingers crossed tonight. Let's get tonight out of the way first. I want to say a big hello to my friend Rio, who is with us now, and hopefully we have him all mic'd up and audio ready. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm all right now. Just got in and settled finally.
Good stuff. Good stuff. It's good to have you here. So we are 5 strong. That is probably it as far as the team goes tonight. There will be the 5 of us. But we shall aim to keep you entertained throughout the evening as West Ham look to win a 3rd consecutive game. Now, Rio, I know you've only just hit the hot seat, but there's one for you to look at. When was the last time West Ham won 3 games in a row in the Premier League? Oh, maybe off the top of your head.
Not off the top of my head, but I will do a bit of digging around with that.
You may have to go back sometime, I think, on that one, buddy. We've said that West Ham, while Rio's sent off to look at the history books, we've just mentioned that West Ham can still finish in 14th place if we win tonight and win on Sunday, and Palace lose against Tottenham. And, of course, Brighton don't pick up too many points between now and the end of the season. Of course, they've only got 1 game left. Just a quick one before we do start. We're about 15 minutes away from kickoff. I'm going to go around the panel quickly and not really a very quick answer we want on this. Gnome, I'll start with you on this one. You've seen a few of them over the years. What's your favourite West Ham goal against Manchester United?
I'll give it a couple. Can I have 2? Am I allowed
Go on,
to?
then.
I'm
Go
the
on,
oldest. Firstly, taxi for Barthez. Yeah, that one just for it was just pure genius and pure hilarity. And the second one was the Tevez one in the Great Escape year, which as you recall, having got the game when you finally turned up, I was actually on crutches and in plaster, having ruptured my Achilles tendon. So I had a ticket in the disabled section sort of behind the goal near the end where we're usually at anyway.
I was going to say, weren't you below the West Ham fans? That's where that section was, wasn't it?
Yeah. So of course we scored that goal, and of course I wanted to jump up. Yeah, your natural reaction is to jump up. And of course, I've got my leg in plaster. It's aching like anything. And by the time I actually got up on my crutches, I think the game had restarted. I'd been playing for about 5 minutes. but both those goals, obviously, the Barthez one because it's so funny, and the other one, it meant a lot, although it didn't keep us up, as everyone's fond of saying.
No, of course not. Of course not. Of course, we would have stayed up without it, wouldn't we, that season? As we well know. I'm just, I would imagine there was a few possibly more broken limbs actually after the celebrations, because all I can recall from that day was starting in one row and ending up about 9 rows down when these celebrations had finished. And, it took a while to find out where we should actually be. Pinky, what about you? Best goal you've seen or recall against Manchester United?
2 moments of genius, really. Obviously, the Barthez one when he got done and made an arse of himself. And I think the Payet free kick. 2 bits of genius from probably the 2 most creative players we've had at West Ham United in the last 25 years, and we don't see that many up there, that's for sure. But they'd be the picks for me, and probably the free kick being the absolute pick of it. We'll never see a free kick as good as that again in our West Ham lives. Perfectly executed, and who knows, maybe tonight we might see Cresswell banging a free kick from outside. It could happen. We could see Antonio send one in off his backside. Who knows? So the best goal at Old Trafford is the next goal at Old Trafford. That's the way to put it.
Absolutely true. I also have very fond memories of the Payet goal, because it was the first away game I'd ever done with my son. He was about 4 years old, and he was perched on he would have been a bit older than that. It must have been 6. But anyway, he was perched on my shoulders, and there was an air of expectancy, wasn't there, in the crowd? It took, I think there's about 90 seconds between the whistle being blown and the kick being taken. And what a strike! What a strike! We've seen him score some fantastic goals. The Palace one, of course, must be up there with any free kick that Payet scored. But that was just out of this world. And it's just a shame that we didn't hang on to win it. Absolute scenes, as they say, in the away end. That day.
Ray Stewart stood 3 along from us that afternoon as well, which was quite nice. And he certainly appreciated the quality. So. But I'll take anything tonight. 1-0 in off Noble's arse in the 92nd minute. That'll do. But it's not a place that will get much. But tonight we might get some.
Fingers crossed. Fingers crossed. Thank you, Pinky. Breeze, a bit difficult coming in. You've probably, if we were playing Family Fortunes, that's probably answers number 1, 2, and 3 out the window already. Would you go along with what the guys have said there, or have you got something else in mind?
Well, I've got something else. I mean, I would pick the Barthez goal just for entertainment value, and I remember being off my seat at that and just laughing at TV. For me, the one I'll remember is the Michael Hughes goal, where we cost Man United the championship, and all my mates had jumped on the Man United bandwagon, and it was all Man United shirts all around Bristol, and everyone was supporting Man United, and there was little old West Ham topped up. We were tipped to lose. Michael Hughes bangs in a goal, game over. Absolutely superb. I loved it.
1994, would I be right?
5, I think.
95 season.
Yeah.
2 years after Kenny Brown, I guess. That was 92, wasn't it? Thanks for that, Briz. Rio, not probably the sort of thing you want to come last in when all the big goals have been named, but do you go along with that, or have you got something else that you particularly fondly recall?
The Payet one is by far my favourite one at Old Trafford. It will never, ever be beaten. But
Sure.
I'd like to give an honourable mention to Jeff Pike, who scored an absolute wonder header from outside the box. I think that was 86, not 85, 86 season.
Yeah, about
Absolutely majestic. And just going back to the last 3 consecutive West Ham League wins, it was actually end of last season.
Was it
Started
really?
at some place in North London somewhere, which their first ever defeat or something like that. I don't know. Can't remember it, to be honest. But we followed it up with wins over Southampton at home, then Watford away. So it wasn't that far away, was it?
Good Lord. I'm absolutely stunned by that. But well done for picking that one out. Fortunately, we didn't have to send you back 10 or 15 years as I'd initially feared. Thanks, Rio. The one I would, of course, add to those that we've already had tonight has got to be that penalty that Julian Dix scored against Peter Schmeichel right at the end of that game to grab a point. I don't think, and even to this day, I don't think I've ever seen a penalty hit quite as hard as Julian hit that ball. Absolute thunderbolt. Schmeichel, I'm sure, got out of the way. I'm sure if you look at it, he thought twice about going for it and thought, sod that for a game of soldiers. I like my teeth where they are, and just, made it look like he was moving the wrong way. But what a goal. And again, perhaps the couple that, what was his name? The Croatia striker, Suka, when we were down and out 2-0 and scored twice to salvage a point. Back in now, what year would that have been? 98, 97?
Thereabout.
Would have been around that time, wouldn't it? 2-2, the 2-2 game. But anyway, with lots and lots of great goals, of course. If you're going back a few years, you had the couple of belters in the 1964 FA Cup semi-final in the mud at Hillsborough when West Ham went into the game as huge underdogs and beat a very, very strong Manchester United side that within 3 years were going to be European champions. Of course, within 2 years, West Ham were world champions, but that's another story. I'm sure you all know about that one. We are just under 10 minutes away from kickoff. It's West Ham United v Manchester United at Old Trafford tonight. Sadly, there's no fans there, but we intend to make a bit of noise here on the stream. A couple more stats for you before we get on to the game. There's a really interesting thread posted on Twitter this afternoon by a guy called Simon Gleave, who's looked at how West Ham have changed under David Moyes. Just a few statistics for you, which I'm going to ask the panel to comment on briefly in just a moment. West Ham play a more direct style under Moyes. Passing is down 14%. This is in comparison with Manuel Pellegrini's period, not anything other than that. Passing is down 14%. There are 10% fewer dribbles, but the team crosses more, an extra 14% crosses. Offsides, meanwhile, are down 37%. However, possession is conceded 25% less, which is quite some considerable difference. West Ham's players commit 15% fewer fouls than they did under Pellegrini. And yellow cards, now this is an interesting statistic. Yellow cards under Moyes are down 41% in comparison to Pellegrini's time. West Ham are committing 7.5 fouls per yellow cards now. 7.5 fouls per yellow card. It was 5.2 in the first 19 games under Pellegrini. So I don't know if we're being a bit more cute about it, but we're getting away with a little bit more there. And just having a look at those stats. Breeze, is there anything that sort of jumps out from that there for you to sort of give an indication of why Moyes might be the man to take us forward?
I think for me it's the lack of offsides, and I think that's primarily due to the way that he's engaged with the fullbacks now. When Pellegrini set up the team, the fullbacks would do the overlap thing, and then leaving the ball with the midfielder, the ball would come back to the fullback, and then there would be a drilled cross into the box, usually cut out by the first man on the cross coming over. But now we've done, the fullbacks are dropping deeper. They're passing the ball to the midfielders from the edge of the box. They're not overlapping as much. So instead of going for that kind of cross box drilled shot, what they're doing is holding on to the ball and playing the ball over in the air or backwards to someone on the edge of the box to play that ball in through the centre. And it's something I've noticed with Moyes, but it's certainly improved our passing capacity around the box, and we've been better at it. We haven't lost so many balls around that area. Other end of the pitch has been a different matter, but at that end, that's certainly.
Is that, do you feel that that's partly because we've got Thomas Souček in the team now and they've got a genuine target to aim for those deeper crosses? Yeah,
and I also think his energy, he's quite a box-to-box midfielder. So previously we'd have had the fullbacks rushing in, trying to hit the one centre forward that we had up the pitch, whilst everyone else was puffing away trying to get up there. And I think at the moment now we've got much better connection between all three areas of the pitch. When Souček plays, he's much more of a box-to-box player.
Excellent. Good stuff. Great analysis. Pinky, a few more stats for you, buddy. Goals scored under David Moyes are up 51% from 1.05 goals per game under Pellegrini to 1.59 goals per game under Moyes. Is that more perhaps because of the teams we've been playing lately, or do you think that just generally signifies an improvement, goal, attacking wise under Moyes?
Bit of both, really. Let's not fool ourselves. I'd back anyone on this little Zoom meeting to score against Norwich City, that's for sure. But more importantly, I think what Moyes has brought is an attacking intent, and people might be surprised to hear me say that, but it's small signs. It's things like using Antonio's long throw as an attacking weapon, which is something new that we've seen. And that's all about trying to get the ball in the box and actually, do some damage there. Other things that I'm seeing, when we're actually going forward, the number of times we've got 4 players in the box when the ball arrives in there. Mm-hmm. Little signs of attacking intent we weren't seeing under Pellegrini, and more power to his elbow, I would say, because he's a manager that's been tarred with the Allardyce negativity brush. And I think perhaps unfairly. I think give the man a chance. He's showing us what we can do. And so far, so good.
Great stuff. Rio, another little stat for you to chew over, buddy. Number of goal attempts are up 12% from Pellegrini's time at the club, from 10.4 goal attempts per match to 11.6. Not a huge difference in that particular ratio, but this is an interesting one. Opposition goalkeepers are now only saving 64% of West Ham shots, which was under Pellegrini 78%. Better quality chances we're creating, or just luck, do you think?
I think we're creating better quality, and also I think it's indicative we're not afraid to shoot from outside the box anymore. Yeah. So there's going to be ones that go a bit off kilter and off target. We've needed that. We've always been kind of adamant we're going to walk the ball in the net at times, and that was been a downfall for a long while. But yeah, now we've got Rice, Souček, and I can have a pop from outside the area. Only positives to me.
Great stuff. Thank you very much. Gnome, just thrown a shed load of stats at you there as we're seeing the teams come out onto the pitch in preparation for kickoff. What have you really noticed about the change in the way West Ham play since Moyes succeeded Pellegrini, and especially more in recent weeks since he's had the opportunity to work with the team on for a lengthy period and really get them to play the way he wants?
I think that he's sort of lucked out a little bit on the team that he's got that he's been picking. I mean, Noble missed that game, and sticking Rice and Souček alongside each other basically turned out to be the masterstroke that he had no options with, because he had to do that. But
sure.
Since that's happened, Noble's been playing a little bit further forward from those two, and it works. And that's one of the things I noticed. I would say Pinky's being a little bit unfair on Norwich there. He said any one of us 5 could score against them, because I've seen you play, Gray, and I'm not entirely sure about that. But no, as I say, once we got that first win after the lockdown, the Chelsea game, which, let's face it, was pretty unexpected. I don't think any of us really expecting. It was 2-2 with seconds to go, and we were quite happy with a draw at that point, I think. I think the confidence once that game got out of the way, the fact that we just beat Chelsea, that's been the main thing to me. Going back earlier on, before Christmas, when we were losing games left, right, and centre, you looked at some of the players there. We were beaten before we went out there.
Yeah, definitely a very valid point there. But I mean, I think we can. What we see is that I'm just seeing another application to come in on the stream there. Another Pinky. Not sure that's a legitimate claim coming in there. And there's Pinky. You've got a doppelganger somewhere.
Got another stat for you, actually, if you've got a moment, Graham.
Go for it, buddy.
2-0 down with 5 minutes to go. We've got one person just walked in the local pub who's guaranteed to do a one-man charge. He will be on the pitch. He will get the game called off if need be. Good evening, Lyndon. And we're counting on you tonight. That's all. That's a stat.
Welcome, Lyndon. Good to see you, buddy. Or not see you, but we know you're kind of there behind Pinky. We are just about to kick off. As I said to the guys who've just recently joined the stream, because it's on Sky, I'm likely to be behind everybody tonight. So as usual, cheer and shout and whelp when we score a goal, which of course we're going to do very soon. And let us know how we're going. But are we off yet? Have we kicked off?
Yeah, we're off.
Yeah,
We're off.
Interestingly, Suchek 35-1 to get the first goal. Might be worth a tenner in anyone's money. And that comes from Bubble Boy on the forum.
Send those bookies.
That is something else. We're still not started on my stream, so it looks like I'm going to be some considerable time behind everybody tonight. But we shall cope. I'm sure we shall be fine. The game is underway. We've got everyone's predictions in.
You're about 37 seconds behind, Gray.
Yeah, I'm on 10 seconds right now, so definitely quite a bit behind, which is not a bad thing because it means I can kind of get the notification from you when something's happening. I'm going to go over to Rio and Briz, who are keeping an eye on the forum and the chat for us tonight. Guys, is there anything happening on the forum? Have we got any pre-match or just started match comments from the team? Is everyone feeling confident? What's the general opinion there?
On the forum, there's cautious optimism, I would say. So Thomas, the old man of store, has gone for a score draw. A lot of people complaining about the bias from Sky in terms of coverage. So it all seems to be Manchester United, and people are waiting for West Ham to upset the apple cart there. So quite cautious optimism. Just to say as well that DM says there's only one United and 8 Manchester. Come on, you Orange.
On my stream, Manchester United are attacking, but I'm presuming because no one's groaned hugely that's come to nothing already. So that's good. We are in about 2 minutes in now. It's Manchester United nil, West Ham United nil. Of course, West Ham need a point to go back above Brighton this evening. Gnome?
Yeah, shot just came in there from the right-hand side there. Fabianski got down well to his right to save. Just looking at it again. It's good save from Fabianski. Shot coming in from Martial.
Okay, Martial with the first effort on goal tonight. Danger averted, says Gnome. Just a quick question for everybody. Briz, do you think David Moyes has got something to prove here tonight?
I'm not sure. I think David Moyes is the way for David Moyes to prove what he's worth is to keep West Ham up and start building next season. I'm not sure one game's going to change anybody's mind about David Moyes. I think the way he sets up and the way he plays tonight, if he gives it a go, I think that'll do well in winning a lot of people over. But for me, it's one game. Good save there, Fabianski. So it's one game, and I don't think much is going to be changing people's opinion based on this match.
Good stuff. Good stuff. We're just seeing a second effort. Excuse me, coming in from Manchester United there. Rio, do you want to talk us through that one?
Yeah, well, it just went to the box. Number 26, I can't recall the name. Got another low shot off.
Greenwood, yeah.
Got a low shot off, but again, Fabianski matched it. But it's a little bit worrying the way they're kind of making forays into our box already. There's 2 good chances in the first 3 minutes. Yeah,
2 good chances within 60 seconds as well. But it's okay. 0-0 still. That's fine. But Lucas Fabianski having to earn his money already, it seems. Pinky, what do you think on that? The question about David Moyes. Do you think he'll feel that he has to do something here tonight, given the fact that he was given the job to succeed Alec Ferguson? Didn't last very long. If you're a manager, you put yourself in that position. Do you feel that you've got something to prove, perhaps?
I'm not so sure. I mean, I take the view now that was a number of years ago, and if you're David Moyes, he took the poison chalice when he took the Man United job. It's a classic job that if it's offered, you have to say yes. But it was clearly the wrong time. That was a Man United team that was in woeful decline, a real mess, and they haven't exactly set the world on fire since, and they've spent a huge amount of money. So for David Moyes, it was the right job at the wrong time. I think he certainly lost his way when he went to Sunderland and to the gig in Spain. But you know, I take it. Let's give him a chance here. You know, he's certainly going to have the job at West Ham for the next year or so. Give the man a chance. You know, is that unreasonable? Just give the man a chance.
Good shout. Thanks, Pinky. Rio, do you agree with that? Do you think that, regardless of what anybody thinks about David Moyes, it's you know, it's only right that he gets a full pre-season and a chance to build his own squad, you know, in his own way?
Absolutely. He's come in as a firefighter for 2 occasions now.
Yeah.
He's performed exactly what's needed.
Rare.
Let's give the man a chance to actually create a side rather than just deal with the dregs.
Okay, thank you. We're getting a few groans from around the panel there. Gnome, what's the groans for?
Bowen went on a fine run down the right-hand side. He had Williams, who was matching him pace for pace. And basically the ball went out for a throw-in, but yeah, it was ours, not theirs.
Yeah, it's. I think it's. Yeah, I mean, it's quite clearly our ball, isn't it? I mean, and the shocking thing is that the assistant referee, I nearly said linesman there, the assistant referee is no more than 5 yards away. But as preview Percy said in his match preview, this is Old Trafford. Those 50-50s turn into more like 65-35s, I guess. And so we're gonna expect a lot of that. I'm just trying to think back now, actually, at some of the really awful decisions that we've had at Old Trafford over the years. I think 2 stick in my mind. The first one, of course, being the Bastian Schweinsteiger goal that they equalised with in that game that we referred to earlier before kickoff, in which Payet scored the opening goal 7 minutes from time. We were leading 1-0. The ball came across. Schweinsteiger bundled Darren Randolph into the net, didn't he? And I think was it Martial who scored the goal, possibly. But anyway, it was
esque, wasn't it?
Absolutely, it was shocking. But the other one and it's going back a few more years, about 15, 16, maybe a little bit longer than that. But it was a goal that was given offside. Jermaine Defoe scored. I think it was 0-0 at the time. Defoe scored, and the TV replay showed that it was about 4 yards onside. It wasn't even close. And of course, we went on to lose that one. So
even last year, Anderson had one chalked out for offside that palpably wasn't. You know, it just happens all the time. It's
yes,
we can all have theories why, but
we all do. But they always seem to come back to the same people. Our friends at PGMOL, of course. I'm sure we all remember, Briz, I'm sure you remember this one, the Kevin Nolan one that was given offside. I think it would have made the game 2-2 a few years back. He was actually offside, but it was one of those where it was a hair's width offside, and the linesman couldn't possibly have seen it in real time, yet they kind of gave the offside anyway. And
it's Man United, isn't it? They get everything. It's big club bias, and you know, we say it jokingly at times, but there definitely is shown that both this season and last season that there's a pressure from Sky TV to give the big clubs a decision and keep the drama going at the top end. They're not interested in any other teams winning the league. It's all about the big six for them, and that's what they want to say. It's been like that for years now, but it's getting steadily more and more worse in terms of decision making. And now they just back it up with the men in the truck.
Yeah, it's. I mean, it's. VAR certainly hasn't a good idea in principle, I guess we'd say, but it just hasn't quite worked out to the advantage of the minnows, I suppose we would call ourselves, those teams outside the big six anyway. It is Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. We're approaching the 10th minute of the game. Manchester United with 2 early efforts from Martial and Greenwood, both in the 3rd minute. No other shots since then. We've only had one decision go against us so far, which I guess, Pinky, given that we're 10 minutes into the game, isn't really that bad.
No, and again, I mean, let's not kid ourselves. This is not the world-beating, world-conquering Manchester United of a decade ago. You know, this is a team that's being rebuilt at the minute with a relatively inexperienced manager at the helm. And, whilst 5-0 may be a stretch in terms of prediction, you know, we've got a chance here tonight, so let's not talk ourselves into defeat. I think keep them quiet for 30, 40 minutes, and if we score, you know, Man United have got to win tonight. They've got to win. A draw's no good to them. You know, a defeat's a disaster. The pressure's on them. The pressure's not on us.
Yeah, that's actually a very good point. I mean, looking at something that we rarely do as West Ham supporters, especially this season. But looking at the other end of the table briefly, Manchester United 62 points, Leicester 62, Chelsea 63. Manchester United and Leicester have an identical goal difference, plus 28. Chelsea with the extra point, but they only have plus 15. A point for Manchester United here takes them from 5th to 3rd. A win will also take them from 5th to 3rd, but give them that buffer on Sunday for the final round of fixtures. So as Pinky
free
rightly
kick
said,
in a dangerous position.
off you go, Gnome.
Yeah, Antonio's just been a little tug back from Greenwood, just on the edge of the box, and just before that happened, they put up the possession stats. Man United 86% at the moment. Well, as at about a minute ago, but as I say, it's on the corner of the box, the left-hand corner of the box, and so everyone's lining up in the middle. I'll just talk you through it once it's taken.
Great stuff. Greenwood's the
Cresswell
culprit
puts
there,
it in
taking
and-
Antonio down.
Yeah, dangerous looking ball went in, but nobody got on the end of it, and it's gone out.
Interesting, Graham. On the forum, Celador's put that Antonio looks like he may have tweaked his hamstring. So that's one to look out for, whether or not. And WC Pete's also noticed the same, that he was feeling his hamstring. So it might be one to watch out whether or not he can actually finish the game.
Yeah, that's a very good shout. Just looking at him now, obviously I'm a few seconds behind you, but he's left short, I suppose, or the shorts on his left leg are pulled up higher than the right. So that may
He always
possibly
does
suggest
that,
that does he always do that? Just one.
Yeah,
It's like Alex Song, but only half a leg. I just wonder perhaps whether he'd been rubbing his thigh and his shorts have ridden up.
No, it's something he's been doing for a while. One leg sort of rolled up. If that's whether or not that actually helps with his hamstring physically, I don't know. I suspect it's one of those things that if he thinks it helps, it does. But it's something he's been doing for quite some time.
Excellent, thank you. Great observation there. See, we're all on the ball. Well, most of the team are on the ball. I'm clearly not, but everybody else is. Rio, just seen Manchester United. This new thing, playing, keeping possession in your own penalty box and passing the ball around. Are you a fan of that, or do you think it's just asking for trouble? Because I just watched Manchester United do it a minute or so ago, and in the end, they've just hoofed the ball up into the middle reaches of the pitch. I mean, what are your thoughts on that?
I'm an advocate for it, as long as it's not us doing it, because you know what's going to happen. If you've got good enough players, you can get away with it. But for us, it's a calamity waiting to happen, isn't it?
Yeah.
Even the best you've seen City, like the likes of John Stones, get caught out of it. It's a very dangerous play, very dangerous indeed. We certainly can't afford to do that at the moment.
Sorry, Ray, carry on, mate.
Oh, no, just going to mention the live chat on YouTube. We've been joined by Hola Changba, Rob Young and Chris Mulhall. Rob was saying 2 shots in the opening 5 minutes is like holding your hats this kind of evening. And when we was mentioning the goals we've had ruled out in the past, someone said the old Nolan kneecap. And Rob also thinks that's a Captain Beefheart track, I believe. So no one might be able to clear that one up.
Definitely one for you, Nolan. That.
Just having a look at no, it wasn't offside. Man United a little bit of a chance there. Diagonal ball played into Fernandes, who was in a good spot but totally failed to control it. Just came off him and went for a goal kick. They should have made more of that, but they didn't. It's tough.
Yeah, very, very dangerous.
I was just going to say, when we're talking about this playing the ball out from goal kicks. Yes. When you were allowed to put, and that's one of these things. There was a law change which, I'm still trying to work out why anybody at the IFAB thought that was necessary. But just because you can do that, Fornals was breaking into the box. Just because you can do that doesn't mean you ought to. Just because the rules are changed to allow you to do it, why would you? Just seems very daft to me.
Yeah, I think Rio's probably right. I mean, it's something that other teams are welcome to do, but probably not something that is ideal for West Ham. Briz, tactically.
Did you ever see the great Alvin Martin doing it?
Sorry,
No.
Pinky.
Did you ever
Sorry,
see
buddy.
the great Alvin Martin mucking around, playing around in the box? There's your answer. Yeah, you know, it's a
Fair
silly
point.
idea. Yeah, if one of our defenders did it, I'd drop him straight away.
A very fair point indeed, Pinky. Sorry, buddy, I didn't hear you there. You're a little bit quiet tonight because you've got the background noise. But my apologies for coming in over the top of you there. Briz, I was just going to come to you there and just say, ask for a little tactical analysis from the opening quarter of an hour, specifically with regards to Mark Noble. Looks like he's playing a little bit higher up the pitch again tonight than perhaps he would traditionally do.
Yeah, absolutely. And he's been great tonight so far. I mean, he's done 2 or 3 passes which have got us out of real pressure situations. There was a cross-ball pass not so long ago, and a couple of balls that are just into channels that have looked really, really good. Again, from him, his passing is exemplary at times. I just hope he can match the pace. We're going back to that back 5 position. So when Manchester United attack down our left, Bowen drops back into an extra fullback role, and on the right, Fornals is doing the same. So again, that seems to be working for us. It's something we're sticking with. Interesting as well that Man United seems to be going at 3 at the back and using wing backs in this game rather than actually going to a flat back line. So we might be able to exploit that.
Great stuff as always, Briz. Thank you for that. Pinky, we stressed we were slightly concerned about the potential for Antonio to be carrying a little bit of an injury. Have you spotted anything in the last 5 or 10 minutes that might suggest that's the case, or does he look okay?
He looks fine to me, but you know, I mean, we're going to be nervous because he's our main man at the moment. But he'll be fine, absolutely fine.
Great stuff. Well, let's hope it continues that way. 17. We're approaching 17 minutes played. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Quite frankly, it's been a bit of a bore, isn't it, so far? Manchester United with the 2 early chances, nothing yet from West Ham. We did have a free kick that came to nothing, but that's about the sum of our attacking intent so far. Gnome pointed out a few moments ago that West Ham had 14% possession. I think it was 86-14. According to the BBC, where I'm looking right now, it's 80-20. So we're
getting a foothold then.
we're getting slightly back into the game as it goes. Rio, Ben Johnson in the team tonight. Again, much tougher test this one, isn't it, for him than last weekend?
Yeah, this is going to be probably his biggest test ever. Man United are flying at the moment. Young Greenwood who likes to drift out wide. Martial can do the same. He's got to be really, really sharp tonight. But this is a really good test to see how really good he is for us. Just I was speaking there, Martial just said let fly from about 25 yards and it's gone to nothing. And just going back to what Briz said about the way we're pushing up, I was actually going to say just before that, we seem to be a little bit deeper tonight.
Yeah.
But after Man United started faffing around at the back, we definitely made a step up about 10, 15 yards. And I think that's a reaction to their kind of ability to play at the back. So hopefully we can find force and error there. But good thing one more is if it is. Yeah,
I'm just seeing that shot coming from Martial. Gnome, do you think that's perhaps a touch of frustration from Manchester United? Martial sort of having a dig from 25 yards there?
So I'm just sorry, they had it in a potentially dangerous position, but it's come to naught there. Yeah, I think maybe a little bit. Sorry, as their attack breaks down, thankfully. But yeah, maybe a little frustration sort of thing. Although, to be fair, it's you wouldn't put Martial, wouldn't put it past him to actually score from that sort of distance. So but yeah, maybe I don't think he had an awful lot on as well at that point. So it was one of those may as well shoot things, and but it was a terrible shot.
Yes, thankfully for us. Briz, we're seeing, especially in this sort of 25 to 40 yards out from our own goal, that kind of narrow band of the pitch. Our midfield 3 of Noble and Souček and Rice working like Trojans to close down any space right now, and it's going okay so far, it seems.
Yeah, I think we're paying a little bit too much respect to Pogba at the moment. He seems to be sitting deep, picking the ball up and dictating the tempo of the attacks, sometimes keeping it quick up front. But I think Noble and Rice need to get a bit nearer to him and stop him playing that ball. Maybe put a foot in now and again. lots of praise on the forum at the moment for young Johnson at the back and saying how well he's worked in defence tonight. So that's certainly coming across from there.
It's good to see. And it's nice to see the young
Well, Antonio's down the line. And we've got a corner. Some good work out on the right-hand side there between Antonio, I think it was Bowen out there. Nice little 1-2 and played, down there. And Antonio got the better of his left back, got the cross in, and I think that's Maguire, has cut it out. So we have our first corner of the game.
Great stuff. I'm going to go over to Pinky to talk us through the corner. Mr. Palermo, please.
Okay. Of course, they're focusing on Antonio at the minute. I'm not sure why. Maybe it's because he's just a good-looking bloke, but, you know, maybe they see that's where the threat's coming from. He stood there. No one's near him. And, of course, Josh, the bartender, comes across at the wrong moment. Dangerous ball swung in. It was an in-swinger. It's now played back. Go on, beat your man. No, doesn't. Still falling deep. Played wide again. Yeah, we're working the ball well in. Cross it now. In it comes.
Good cross. Ooh.
Yeah, pretty well worked by West Ham, but at the end of the day, it breaks down to nothing. But just for a moment there, we looked threatening.
Great stuff. Thank you for taking us through that. And also, just to let you know, you're much clearer with the audio piece to your mouth there. So that's great stuff. West Ham looking threatening for the first time this evening. It's taken 21 minutes or so, but a nice little move. I'm just watching it here, actually. Bowen looking to swing a cross in, getting the ball over. But 3 or 4 Man U players in the box as Antonio goes hurtling in. Sorry, it's Ogbonna, isn't it? It's
Ogbonna.
Not Antonio. My apologies. Ogbonna hurtling in from deep and losing or conceding a free kick. I'm not quite sure why, because the ball was away and the ball was there to be won. But that's modern day football for you. Rio, are we fairly happy with the start we've made here? We haven't seen an awful lot of the ball, but it's still 0-0.
No, 0-0. We're also getting a little bit more into the game, creating a few more chances. You know, 20 minutes in, we haven't conceded. Always a positive at Old Trafford, because, you know, everything's weighted against you. Just like to point out a couple of things. As we took that corner, a stat just pops up from the sky, which I'll let this attack Peter out first. Hopefully. Yeah, Pogba's got the ball on the edge of the box, step over. Oh, loses him. Ball's gone out wide to Greenwood. Oh!
There's an offside in the middle of that.
Offside. Yeah, the stat pops up that we've scored 10 goals from corners this season, the joint highest in the Premier League. Now, we've all watched West Ham for so many years. I don't think we've ever scored 10 in 30 odd years that I've watched, let alone 10 in the season. And I'm sure most of them come from the restart.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I mean, I guess, especially now, the big threat, of course, is Souček. Just want to go back quickly to that Man U chant. All right, it's flagged for offside, but slight worry there, perhaps, Pinky, for the Hammers. I mean, you know, they've got behind us, and that's a really dangerous ball coming across. I mean, so I think there's 2 of them. Well, you know, traditionally there would have been 2 offside. It's only counted as 1 now. But first sign of concern for West Ham, perhaps?
Yes, but again, the completely fake and made up drinks break that's come in now breaks the rhythm of the game, plays to our advantage. And again, this is the classic where people introducing rules, it's the law of unintended consequences, because what should have been pressure building from Manchester United, the rhythm's gone. We'll start again now, and it's effectively a drop ball situation to all intents and purposes. And for us, you know, it's time to recover, regroup, and the moment is lost for Man United. And tragically, we're going to need to get used to this, because that's 45 seconds that you get a nice Super Bowl type advert in that you can sell for millions of pounds. And but it destroys the rhythm of the game, no doubt about it.
Yeah, fair point. Some animated discussions going on during the drinks break amongst the West Ham contingent there. Kevin Nolan and Pablo Fornals deep in conversation. Briz, it looks like Kevin Nolan was pointing an area of concern out to Fornals, and Fabianski and Creswell also having a bit of a discussion about something.
Yeah, it was interesting. I'm glad you picked up. I was watching exactly the same. It looks like, I mean, Fornals got done by Pogba just before the drinks break.
Yeah.
And went central instead of dropping back into that left back position. I think Nolan was saying we've got to be more disciplined in keeping that left back slot. Interestingly, though, before that Manchester United break, they were faffing around in the box with the ball again, and we nearly nicked it. Very close to nicking the ball off them then. And that's a dangerous game for them, and that might be a really good opportunity for us to pinch one.
Gnome rightly pointed out earlier that John Stones for the other Manchester club came unstuck with exactly the same thing not so long ago. So fingers crossed, you never know. We might profit from that. But I agree, Bruce. I think they've looked a little bit cautious and perhaps a little bit vulnerable. We'll see what happens. Quick hello to Troy Perkins. How you doing, Troy? Good to see you on the chat. Thanks for joining us. Let us know what you think of the game, buddy, as we go along. We are 25 minutes in. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. The 3 shots so far, I make it to Manchester United. None from West Ham yet. The nearest West Ham have come to making anything happen is a quick free kick on the edge of the box and a corner. Neither of them really came to nothing, but it's okay. No, we're holding our own, really. I mean, we're not being overawed anyway so far. That one's for Gnome if he's...
Oh, it's for me. Sorry.
Sorry, buddy.
I didn't hear the name at the beginning of it, so I was keeping an eye on the game there. Yeah, we're keeping our shape. We're keeping discipline. Couple of occasions where they've got through the lines, and hit this maybe one of them. I'll play Johnson.
Right.
Johnson's just there was a ball played out left, looked at a dangerous position. Johnson just nicked the ball off the player, fine tackle, and Antonio's been called offside. Johnson's impressed me so far. A couple of times the ball's gone out his way in an awkward position, maybe, and he's kept his head, not dived in. That was just perfect. As Man United go on attack again, and another dreadful shot again. Not much ahead of him, and I think that was Fernandez, wasn't it? Yeah, Hernandez got the ball at the edge of the box. Not much ahead of him. I may as well have a dig high and wide, and we turned to play again. Oh, now we've started doing the goal kick inside the box thing, and
oh no,
yeah, as predicted, it didn't look great, but well, yeah, we've lost the ball. We've got it back though, so and we're going forward now. That's lovely run, Declan. Keeps the ball and then we give it away.
Okay.
But yes, I don't like this goal kick thing.
No, another one concerned by. I was just going to say, Rio, just a few moments ago, just watching West Ham, and for anyone who's ever coached at any level, the game kind of looks a little bit like almost a bit like a training routine, where one team's given possession and the other team has to defend. West Ham holding that second line of 4 just in front of the back 4, and whoever's closest to the ball popping out to close the ball down and then dropping in whenever it's moved across. But we're doing well. We're holding our discipline well there so far. I mean, if they have been working on that on the training ground, they seem to have done a decent job.
Yeah, and we've just forced the corner, but goal kick. Man United have faff around the back. We're doing okay. We're away from home. You've got to be a bit more cagier and a bit kind of not as forthright in your attacking impetus. We're doing all right against this kind of level. Just also to point out on the live chat, Rob Young has just pointed out to Pinky that we can see a part of your screen in the background, mate. Is that an illegal broadcast by chance, he asks?
That's a very good point.
No chance whatsoever. I'm in a highly reputable, world-famous Rising Sun public house in Brentwood, and there's not a chance it's a moody broadcast. He's got all the appropriate stuff here, I tell you. Great place to watch.
They weren't allowed to actually broadcast matches though for during lockdown. Whether they
we might want to put behind Pinky. Given that we've given the name of the pub away several times now, or Pinky, you might want to adjust your screen by a few inches, my friend.
Hang on.
That's
that?
Hey,
what screen?
Rob, thank you for pointing that out. Of course, I think the point Rob was making is that we might be in trouble for broadcasting illegally
Oh, right. I was
as
going to
well,
say.
because
Yeah.
we might get the KUMB channel locked down if, of course, we're broadcasting it in the background. But anyway, no problem. A genuine mistake if we were, Mr. Ossifer. Nothing intended. Thank you, Pinky, for moving that around.
Apologies for that.
Go on.
On both.
Oh,
No?
lovely ball across field out to Bowen, who rode a challenge. Who's played that ball? Yeah, and it's gone out there. He's rode a challenge which involved a kick to the gut by the looks of things, and cut inside, but ball's clear. But we've got another corner as Bowen rubs his injured bits.
Okay, good stuff. Breeze, do you want to take us through the corner?
Yeah, can do. Before it's been, they're still kind of wandering about. So before it's been taken, just to say, Macca 1973 says decent start. Dare I say it, but Man United are the ones looking a bit jaded. And I tend to agree. Noble's just taking a short corner, back out to Bowen, who's knocked the ball into the box. Good header, just wide of the post. Ogbonna.
Our first shot at goal, I think that is so far. Rio, would you agree with that? Do you think Manchester United look a little bit jaded tonight, especially out the two?
Yeah, I think they do a little bit. The only thing is we are giving them a bit, as Bridge said, we're giving a bit more respect than they actually deserve. Pogba's getting a lot of space when he has the ball, which we've really got to cut out. But yeah, they look a bit tired. Obviously, the semi-finals took a lot out of them. So let's hope that we can exploit that as the game wears on.
Just looking at that chance again, it's once again, Pinky, it's one of those short corners that we seem to do once or twice every game in the last few games, especially since we've been watching. It's clipped into the centre, and Ogbonna's actually risen well to get up high there, and probably a better chance than it looked, perhaps.
Yeah, personally, I'm a big fan of short corners. I think anything at all that takes big lumps out of the game, makes the defenders have to think about what they're doing, I think is always worth trying. And I think there's a lot of laziness amongst many Premier League teams where just sling it straight in with the trusty swing of the boot. But actually, make defenders think and change the angle of attack. Always worthwhile. Do we know what the black armbands are for tonight, please?
I'm not sure. I don't think it's anything for us.
Is it because it's Manchester's quite near Liverpool? Is that anything to do with it, or?
Yeah, it's basically because Liverpool get the Premier League trophy tonight, so it's mourning that fact, I think.
Fair enough. That's a good point. Thank you, Gnome.
We should see if we can figure that one out, Pinky. That's a very good point, actually. I hadn't even noticed they were wearing armbands, but that's one perhaps one of the guys can on the stream can fill us in with, perhaps, if we can't figure that out ourselves. We're a third of the way through. Just going back to that corner quickly. Was that the first corner that Jared Bowen hasn't taken for a while? I think Mark Noble took it. I'm presuming it's because he was slightly injured, Breeze, but normally Bowen's on them, isn't he? Pretty much religiously.
On that side.
Yeah.
On that side, of course, yeah.
Yeah, I think, again, it's about mixing it up, isn't it? And I think we've got better at that, certainly with our corners. I think it's an important part of our game now. And certainly the stats seem to bear that out. I don't know, Bowen, it always seems a much better corner taker to me than Noble. Noble's got a tendency to hit the front man quite often. But, I'm glad to see us mixing it up, really. Yeah,
good stuff. A bit of variety, spice of life, as they say.
Lovely put in.
No?
Sorry, just a ball played in, and it was a lovely block by slide in by Souček. Pogba got the better of Antonio, who tried to track back and played a ball in, but it was just so Souček slid in, cut out.
Souček, of course, has been absolutely fantastic for us the last few weeks. As the stats.
The black armbands are for Jack Charlton.
All right.
Great stuff. Nice to see Jack remembered. One of England's greatest ever on players, most decorated anyway. Even though I don't think he played for England.
Think he's for Jack Charlton, unfortunately.
Okay, Rio.
Yep.
Well, one of the Busby Babes apparently passed away recently, according to Chris Mulhall on the live chat.
Ah,
okay.
So
thank you.
That could explain it.
Thank you, Chris, for pointing that out, and thank you, Rio, for spotting it. But condolences to whoever it is anyway. Someone's obviously suffered a loss recently. But getting back to the football, Breeze, you mentioned the stats a moment ago. Just going to come back to the stats. The first time we mentioned the possession stats, Man U had 86 to West Ham's 14. I mean, we're positively walking it now. It's only 60% possession to Manchester United. We've gone up from 14% to 40.
Absolute domination. I think you can see it in the game all over. But it's to be honest with you, we've looked really comfortable. They've played a lot. We've played around with the ball a lot in midfield, but nothing really incisive going forward. And our great tackle there from Declan Rice again. But our midfield's handled them quite well. Lots of praise on the forum for Fornals as well, playing that role deeper at left back. So yeah, and I think we've worked really well on our game plan. We kept discipline.
Great stuff. Thank you, Pinky. Talking about Fornals there, we've praised him quite a lot. Alex Dawson, apparently, as Rio showing us on the screen, one of the Busby Babes, the great Manchester United team of the 50s, many of whom were killed, of course, tragically in that Munich air disaster back then. One of those who didn't perish, fortunately, on that night, sadly lost. So hence the black armbands all round tonight. I forgot where I was, Pinky. What was I just asking you, buddy? Fornals, Pablo Fornals. Yes, we've been quite praising quite a lot, but doing a lot of work in defence tonight, rather than where you'd expect him to at the other end of the field.
Yeah, and the reality is, you go to Old Trafford, everyone's got to work on defence, and because they will come at you, it is their way in the game they particularly need to win. But yeah, we're seeing ourselves get very tight, very hard to break down, and the only way you can do it is with hard work. And they're pushing again here, Man United. They work the ball down the left, ball comes in, and yeah, chance there. Couldn't see who it was. Perhaps should have done a bit better there with that chance. They'd worked the ball well, got it into the box, but nothing comes of it. And we're talking stats. 37 minutes gone. It's 0-0. That's the stat that matters.
As we always say on this stream, it doesn't matter how much possession you've got.
Just before that, Greenwood found some space on the edge of the box. Another shot from outside the box. It's the first one that's actually been sort of on target. Fabianski did well to put it away. Oh, back past to Fabianski that he's actually had to play with his chest. Dreadful that. Did well with it in the end to get clear, and we move away. But yeah, Fabianski did well. The ball was moving all over the place.
The Rashford shot we're talking about.
Greenwood just a second ago, I think it was.
Okay.
No, I think it was Greenwood. Yes, when they just showed the replay there.
Okay, good stuff. Thank you. We saw just after that another cross coming from the left, and they made a complete hash of it. So, yeah, I mean, interesting to see Fabianski using his chest there and then absolutely slicing it like a club golfer.
Well, that was the sort of back pass that you used to give me when I played in golf.
That was just to keep you on your toes, of course.
Yeah, but anyone else can chest those. I had to head it.
It's a fair point. 38 minutes gone. Manchester United 0, West Ham United 0. Manchester United, perhaps the last couple of minutes, Rio starting to sort of, create chances and open us up a little bit for the first time in the game.
They're finding a lot more space behind our fullbacks now. And as we say that,
great blocking going on there,
which is a bit of a worry. We need to kind of regain our shape a little bit, and they're trying to expose young Ben Johnson a lot. And I think the writing's on the wall, I'm afraid, the way they're attacking at will down the flanks.
Absolutely. There's a goal coming. There's no doubt about it. We are getting cruelly exposed down our right-hand side. They're working the ball very well, and it's only a matter of time before they score. We are right up against it here now.
Yeah, just seeing going back a few seconds, a shot from 6 yards, edge of the box, goal bound but well blocked. I think it was our man of the match from Saturday, wasn't it? Friday, sorry, Angelo Ogbonna. Putting in a really good block there at Gnome.
Ogbonna, and then Rice sort of tied it up. Ball went out to Antonio, who very cleverly got between player and ball and drew the foul to give us a bit of a respite. We're actually on the attack now. We're going down the right. Oh, that's a dreadful cross. Antonio tried to play a cross in, and well, less said about that, the better.
Rio, we haven't seen a lot of Antonio yet tonight. I mean, understandably, given the fact that we spent most of the opening 40 minutes in our own half. Does he perhaps need a little bit of help up there, or could this be a game for super sub Sebastian Haller to come in and do something?
I think the way we're set up, a lone furrow is what we need to play out, to be honest. We need to do that extra man in midfield. I think Noble might have to drop back a little bit. We just got to be really sharp on a break. I mean, he's just attacking now. I think Bowen's got to get a little bit closer to him. But I've got a feeling we'll see Antonio leave after about 60 minutes because he's going to do a lot of running with very little help.
Almost a bit like one of those, what do they call them? In the long distance races, the pace setters. That's what I'm thinking of. Who runs their legs off for the first 2/3 and then trots off the track. We're in that period, Briz, where West Ham have, conceded a few goals over the last few seasons, coming, especially in recent seasons, the last 4 or 5 minutes of the half, concentration perhaps goes a little bit. Are we expecting West Ham to hang on here, or what do you reckon?
Well, we're doing our best to sabotage at the moment. I mean, we're really messing around with the ball and instead of kind of targeting the ball upfield, everyone's trying to give the ball away to everyone else. We've now passed it straight to Manchester United, who are attacking. Again, it really sloppy at the back, and I hope we make it to half-time, so I think we deserve to. But we're just doing that whole West Ham thing that we do again, which is everyone's nervous, the ball ping-pongs around, and suddenly someone gets a goal in off a deflection. It's written on the wall, really.
Yeah, it's Pinky. I'm just sort of thinking about what we've seen so far, and perhaps it's one of those games that a lot of people might describe as a typical David Moyes away performance. West Ham not producing an awful lot, just content to soak up the pressure. But it can be sort of a bit frustrating to watch sometimes, or are you quite happy with what you've seen so far? Pinky's away. I don't think he can hear me right now. Oh yes, he has.
Sorry.
Oh yes, I was just saying this is one of those matches so far that David Moyes is perhaps sometimes criticised for a little bit. West Ham not showing an awful lot of an attacking intent, just quite happy to sit back and soak up the pressure. But are you happy with what you've seen so far?
Yeah, because it's 0-0. I mean, let's not muck around here. We're at Old Trafford. They have got to win to be sure of getting anywhere near the Champions League. It's a massive game for them. And we've just had the best chance of the game there. So all the while it remains at 0-0, we are in this. We are absolutely in this. So completely happy with what I'm seeing here. Antonio there, a yard either side, and we've got a goal. So very, very good from West Ham tonight so far.
I think, given that it's Old Trafford, I think that might have been disallowed. He sort of kind of went through the back of the defender slightly, rightly or wrongly. I think that may have been disallowed, but it was a good chance. That stemmed from a beautiful ball from left to right from Rice. Saw Johnson out in space, and sort of thing. Man United give it away now, which is no bad thing.
Really, I'm glad you pointed that out there, Gnome, actually, because I think that's the pass of the match, if not one of the passes.
Fosu Mensah, basically Antonio's pushed the ball past him. Fosu Mensah, however you pronounce that, has just slid in, just taken Antonio out. To call it late is, he's just taken him. It's it's the usual sort of footballer plea of innocence, but he's just taken him out. He's shaking his head. You've got to laugh at that. There's absolutely no question of it being foul. It's a definite yellow card.
It's a Sunday League challenge, I think you'd describe that one as. Pinky?
44 minutes gone, and we've had an absolute disaster here at Old Trafford. Yeah, it was my round, and it was £27. I tell you what, the night can only get better from here.
You're buying around this early in the season, Pinky.
I know. Schoolboy era.
Rio, would you like to take us through this chance? Or
Okay, yeah, Noble and Creswell were standing over it, which means either a Cres shot or a Noble floaty free kick. Noble touches it to Declan, who slams it into
referee.
the incumbent, who's full in the face.
Put a red shirt on, mate.
But yeah, no, it was worth it just for that. I was Pogba. Oh, that's a shame.
It was dangerous play there because Rice kicked the football and it actually hit Pogba, and that was the end for him. You know, we may have to see if he recovers. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah, they're looking at VAR there.
He's got two hands up there in front of his face.
Crowd have gone wild here in the rising sun. They think there's a penalty shout. VAR checking it.
I think that's a penalty. He's pushed that away with two hands like that.
We are looking at it again. I mean, he looks a little bit guilty, doesn't he, Pogba?
Oh, it's just nailed on handball. It's a stonewall penalty. If they're applying VAR, you know, he's got to give this as a penalty.
He's punched it away.
No question. Yeah. No question. VAR looking at it. Cooler when we get an answer, guys. But I mean, it's blatant. I mean, we are at Old Trafford, but surely they've got to give this. He put his hands up to protect his face. It's a penalty, and he knows it. He knows it. Both hands up. It's almost like he's doing the crossed hammers. Solskjaer looking at the TV. Pogba looking very, very guilty. He knows what he's done. Are we going to get it? No? What do you reckon?
I think he's given it. It was the way the referee blew up originally because, I think he was concerned Pogba's it hit him in the face or something. Of course, there's the usual thing about head injuries. Yeah. But looks like he's given it. Pogba's now looking more dazed than he would have done. Yeah, it's definitely a penalty.
Antonio is taking this.
Wow.
What on earth are we doing? Why on earth is Antonio taking this? It should be Maximus. What are we doing?
Should be Noble.
Please what is going on? What is going on, Breeze? What is on? But it's in the net anyway.
And the crowd's gone absolutely wild here in the rising sun. The pub is in turmoil. 1-0 West Ham.
What a time to score. 46 plus 2. West Ham United have taken the lead at Old Trafford. We've been given a penalty. I think that's even more amazing. Breeze, what about that?
Well, again, I thought for a moment he'd not given it because of the way he was everyone was looking a bit nonchalant around there. And then you kind of wonder, thinking, why is Antonio taking the penalty? Unless someone's got some spread betting going on. Because you would be nailed on for Noble to take that. But we got a goal. Great, fantastic.
We were sitting there a few minutes ago talking about West Ham hanging on until half time and that concern about West Ham conceding late goals. But here we are. West Ham have scored. It's Manchester United 0, West Ham United 1. Rio, why is Antonio taking the penalty? What do we think about that?
It's inexplicable. Noble's record is pretty much exemplary. I don't think Antonio's in such great form at the moment that they're letting him carry on. They think he's a nailed-on cert. But as he strode up to take that, I wasn't confident at all, and I don't think he was, to be honest.
No, that's Antonio's 8th goal since Project Restart, and it keeps him top of the goal-scoring charts.
Well, of course. It was a cool penalty. Just stroked it, watched the hair dive out of the way, stroked it home. We'd never have forgiven him had he missed. I've no idea why Noble didn't take it. Noble didn't seem in any way fazed by that. But more power to his elbow. I'm assuming it must have been that he's on such a great run of form at the moment with the ball, with the ball in front of him at goal, that they gave it to him for that. But when you see Noble going up there, you know it's going to go in. When it's anybody else, you hope it's going to go in.
There's a big kiss coming in on the cheek for Pinky. West Ham, I'm hoping that's a West Ham fan.
Just imagine what I'm going to get when we win 4-0.
Pinky, it's on. The 5-0 is on. It's only 1 at the moment, but of course, yes, as you say, another 4 in the second half. And we're there. Antonio, of course, scoring the first goal as well. It's coming true. What a first half. What a first half.
I mean, you've got to be happy with what you've seen there because no one goes to Old Trafford and bosses Man United, and particularly not in a game that they need to win. So for us there, yes, it was a bit harem scam for about 5 or 6 minutes. We looked like we were going to concede at any moment. But you hang in there, you do what you need to do. You get the break at the other end. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not at all happy that Antonio's taken it. That's not the right decision for me. I don't care how hot a streak he's in. Noble's the penalty taker. We should have had him taking the spot kick, but we got away with it.
Can I just say a big hello to the lady with the lovely teeth behind you, Pinky, tonight. Great set of gnashers there. Rio, it's Manchester. We've been in dreamland against Norwich. We was in dreamland against Watford, and here we are. We're dreaming dreams and scheming schemes at half time. Man U 0, West Ham 1. Amazing.
Yeah, no. Just when we thought that we was going to be under the cosh, just when they're looking to exploit the obvious weakness in a young, experienced right back, we pull off that. I think the only thing that really I can say is that Solskjaer must be ruining the fact that he didn't play Pogba in goal the other day in that semi-final, because he would have done a far better job than De Gea. You know, I'm still stunned by we've got a penalty. B, Antonio tagged it and scored, and what was Pogba doing? I don't understand it. Protecting it really, because he thinks he's too pretty to go to the hospital. Take it in the face like a man. Go on.
Unbelievable, and it's cost his team. I mean, I'm like you, Rio. I think I'm more surprised by the fact that we've been awarded a penalty at Old Trafford than the fact that Antonio was given the spot kick. Anyway, Breeze, just if VAR didn't exist, do you think we would have got that penalty in normal circumstances?
Not in a million years. And people on the forum are agreeing as well as saying Kent Hammer in 1984 says a bit harsh on Pogba. Bryant 4114 says, put it this way, I think we'd be furious if that was given against us. I don't think in a million years that's given if we haven't got a video replay on that. I think it's Old Trafford. I think they could side one of our players down with an axe and we still wouldn't get a foul. It would all be there would be a free kick to the axe, I think. By the officiating at Old Trafford.
Can I ask a quick question of somebody? Anybody who's got their commentary turned up and listening, was the reason the referee stopped the game at that point was that, as I thought, because Pogba went down like he'd been hit in the face and it was the old head injury thing, or was it did he stop the game to check on the penalty?
If you give me a minute, Gnome, I've got Sky Plus, so I'll just wind it back and have a quick look.
Okay.
Interesting stuff. Very good point. Pinky, what do you think on that? Do you think without VAR, that's a penalty being given for West Ham, or is the referee just going to wave play on?
No chance for a penalty without VAR. I mean, we're at Old Trafford. I mean, even with VAR, they'll be actually having a half-time investigation in that. The entire team at Stuckley Park, or wherever it is, will be getting replaced. They'll never be allowed in the cabin ever again. This could cost Manchester United millions of pounds. I mean, how dare they give us a penalty? And without VAR, no chance at all.
Ref blew up for handball.
What was that, Brice? Sorry?
Ref blew up for handball.
Oh, well, fair play to him. Because it was. I don't agree. People are saying, if that had been given against us, we'd be fuming. No, I wouldn't. He's gone up like that. And that's not a natural position for your hands to be in. It may be a sort of a natural reaction. You see the ball come at your face and you do that. But, protecting your face is not an acceptable thing to be doing in a penalty area.
Just on that note, I know for a fact that our players in training are working on doing it like that. Yeah, they're being coached to do that. I've seen videos of all of them doing it.
It's actually quite stunning, isn't it, Rio? Looking at that again, is to see the slow motion, and Pogba can clearly see the ball coming towards him, and it's just his hands. Is it a natural reaction, or is it like you say? Is it just a bit? You expect better from a professional footballer.
For someone who's earning 120 grand a week, I expect him to take that full in the face. It's just a joke. I'm at a loss. It's an absolute joke. Just take it. It's a great save, to be fair to him, but you shouldn't be doing that. A man of his calibre, should not
Sorry.
be able to like. Oh, I don't know. If that one of our
Apologies for
players did
laughing
that,
out
I'd
loud
be
there.
killing him.
Yeah, me too. I
Apologies
think.
for laughing out loud. Sky have just put up they're just going into an ad break, and they've put up the caption "Hand of Pog."
And it certainly was, but he didn't. Unlike Maradona,
whoever
he didn't
came
get
up with
away with
that.
that one, did he? Is it? Are we right in thinking that Pogba's made more saves in the first half than De Gea?
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Yeah, interesting, interesting one.
That's in the last 2 games, to be honest.
Yeah. Anyway, we don't want to talk about Pogba. Let's talk about the penalty. Pinky, we all thought that Maximus Noble was going to step up and stroke that one into the back of the net, as he does or has done year in, year out. There was Antonio. What's going on there? But what a great penalty, though. I mean, took it with aplomb, as they say, didn't he? Just stroked it into the right side of the net.
No, I mean, I'm actually not impressed. Like it or love it, we're in a competitive game at Old Trafford. It's a game that we want the points. There's prize money at stake. If we go above Crystal Palace, that's another £2 million in the manager's budget next year. So for me, sentimental claptrap about, well, Antonio's in a hot streak and he can suddenly take spot kicks. What a load of tosh. Noble's the penalty taker. He takes it. And if Antonio had missed that and we lose 24-0 to Aston Villa next Sunday, we're in the Championship. I know it's unlikely, but actually, if you check with the bookmakers, us leading 1-0 at half-time at Old Trafford's unlikely as well.
I wonder if Sendo had a tenner on that one this week. But anyway, here we are. We are leading by a 1-0. Briz, what are your thoughts? Do you think that's a good penalty from Antonio? I mean, I don't know what I was expecting him to do personally. Is that kind of put it in the top or the net or in rose ed perhaps, but just gently stroked it in, didn't he? Nicely taken.
I totally agree with Pinky. I think it's Noble's job. That's his role. He's the captain. He's the penalty taker for the team.
Yeah,
I'm with Pinky all the way on this. I think it's unacceptable that players do what they want on the pitch. They should be well drilled. Everyone should know their role, and they should follow through on it, regardless of where we are in the season, regardless of who's got what figures. Someone said on here that would have been Antonio's 10th for the season. I don't really care about that. Noble's our penalty taker. Should have taken it. And I think that's poor from Antonio there. He should have turned around and said to Noble, no, this is yours.
Yeah, I just wonder, Gnome, if perhaps that's something that was predetermined, because, I'm thinking of great discussions at penalties in the past. Of course, we all remember Frank Lampard and Paolo Di Canio. It was like a schoolyard fight trying to pull the ball out of each other's arms in that incredible 5-4 win against Bradford. But none of that today, not even a discussion, which kind of perhaps suggests that was decided before the game. That's to you, Gnome. Sorry.
Yeah. Sorry. It's just I'm with everybody else. Over the moon that we scored, and I'm not going to sort of be churlish about it. We've got a goal here, but I'd much rather Noble have taken it. And I can't imagine for a moment that Lightning's going to strike twice and we get 2 penalties at Old Trafford. But should we get a second, that's got to be Noble's all day. I mean, we'll go back and we'll laugh at Alvin Martin's hat-trick goal against Newcastle. But John Lyall, God bless him, as much as he ever did his nut about everything, did have a go at the players, because saying, look, goal difference could be important here, and every goal counts. Mm-hmm. And giving a penalty to somebody just because they're on a hat trick, well, under different circumstances, yeah, maybe, but not at Old Trafford away. Not when there's I mean, technically, we still need a point for absolute mathematical safety.
Yes.
No, I'd be interested to see the post-match interviews, because I'm sure that's the first question that anybody's going to ask of Antonio and or Noble. What happened there then? And if there is a sort of, I can't imagine what that reason would be, but if there is some sort of valid reason, then let's hear it. But I'm thinking, the only thing I can think of is Antonio's doing well. Give it to him.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. I certainly, if I was asking the questions at half time, that's what I'd at full time. That's what I'd be asking. Mark Noble, of course, West Ham's penalty taker for at least the last decade. It will be longer than that.
And a broader, point there, without making any inappropriate suggestions. But if Noble is our regular penalty taker, and you're a bookmaker, and suddenly you've got a load of money that's been staked on Antonio as first goal scorer, how happy are you going to be at paying out those bets? And in an industry where over half the shirts in the Premier League are with betting companies, they'll have something to say about it. Of that, there's no doubt.
That's a very good point, actually, Pinky, that you raised there. I'm looking at that actually again, the penalty decision, and I'd like to see a replay from behind the goal because it looked like Souček might have been creeping offside. I'm sure that would have been by VAR. If there was any doubt whatsoever that they could have not really reason not to give it, they would have done so. But we'll have another look at that in due course. Anyway, first half stats. I appear to have missed a couple of shots because it's according to the BBC, Manchester United had 7 shots. I had them down as 5. And West Ham had 4, whereas I had us down as 3. So I'm obviously not paying attention. Possession-wise, Manchester United 60%, West Ham United 40. Shots on target, Manchester United 3 to West Ham's 2. So very even where it really matters in terms of fouls. Manchester United made 6 fouls in the first half, West Ham 4. Corners, not a single corner for Manchester United in the opening 45 minutes. West Ham had 2, one of which was that short corner by Mark Noble that we spoke about. But gentlemen, we're rapidly approaching the start of the second half.
We've got a substitution for the home side here, by the way.
No.
Fosu Mensah gave away the free kick against just seeing Antonio's miming the Pogba handball there. Fosu Mensah has got off and Wan-Bissaka has replaced him for the home side. Doesn't look like we've made any changes. And no changes for us. So we're going to kick off as we were.
A change of double-barreled surnames for Manchester United at the break then?
They've left the hyphen on the pitch.
Just the one change, as Gnome points out then, at the break. No changes for West Ham. Antonio still having a giggle with Bruno Fernandes by the looks of it about that handball. I would imagine that the Manchester United players, Briz, are pretty damn cheesed off with what their teammates done there.
Yeah, I just want to raise a quick. Crouch Endhammer has written that at halftime, Patrice Evra said, "Today, the one in charge of VAR is not Stevie Wonder." And I think that's a great quote from Evra, and fair play to him for saying that.
I've given Stevie the day off.
Yeah, I think we're going to be a little bit shell shocked for the first part of this half because I'm pretty sure Manchester United are going to come at us now. But who knows? Maybe we can press on and win the game.
13 years ago, of course, in the corresponding fixture, at this point in the match, the Manchester United fans filled the stadium and urged their team to send them down. They're not going to be able to do it this year. We were, of course, leading 1-0 at that point in that particular game through Carlos Tevez in the 13th minute and managed to hang on for a 1-0 win. Can we do it again? Well, we're all about to find out. Let's have a quick go around the table quickly just to see what we think. Rio, can we hang on to this?
We can.
Will we hang on to this?
We probably won't. We can, but we won't. Yeah, I just think they're definitely going to target Johnson more in the second half.
Yeah.
We've just got hope that our fitness levels are right because we're going to come under the cosh a lot, I think. So we've got to be really on our mettle.
Yeah, good point. Pinky, can we hang on to this one, do you think? Another famous victory at Old Trafford?
I think we're good for at least a point. But the pressure's all on Manchester United. We've got the goal. They need 2. And I can't see them getting 2. So I'll take at least a point as the final position here.
Thank you, Pinky. Briz, would you take a point at this stage?
Yeah, absolutely. As people have said before, I think our fitness is going to start to show. We're sitting back and defending, trying to counter, and that always takes out a team. So I think that at some point, we're going to sit back far too deep, and they're going to hit us, and we're going to concede from it. But interestingly, the last time we did the double over Manchester United was 2006, 2007. So could still be on.
Yes, did we not beat them 1-0 in Kirbishley's first game in charge? No,
It was, yeah.
Rio Coca scored.
Yeah, it was indeed.
Yeah. Let's. Well, you never know. Lightning could strike twice in 13 years. I'm not sure that really counts, but no. Would you be happy with the point now, or you think we should be going for all three?
I don't see why we can't get all three, but obviously I'm going to be happy with a point away at Old Trafford. Even more so since at the moment that lead is due to a referee actually getting something right up there for us in our favour for once. Man United have got the ball out on our left, their left rather, playing around with it at the edge of the box. But yeah, it's still there. It's still hanging around. Ball played in. So Fernandez sort of seemed to have a bit of space there for a second, but it was closed down and we've got it clear. Antonio trying to cause some problems, but they're coming back at us again. We need to, when we do clear that, we need to give Antonio a chance to hold on. Fernandez has just played in what I think was a pass and ended up effectively being a back pass to Fabianski. Don't think anybody read it. So
yeah, no, thank you. I was just going to bring up Bruno Fernandes, one of the best players of the season, Pinky, and one of their most informed players. But we've barely seen him tonight, have we? While you're taking a big gulp of a delicious-looking kind of
so
liquid there.
I can listen and consume at the same time. Yeah, I mean, if any player's going to do anything for them, it will be through him. So he is the player you want to keep quiet. That there's no doubt. But
well played again.
Let's not kid ourselves. Yeah, it isn't a great Man United team, and I've said it before. We're teeing it up here nicely on the edge of the box. I mean, we're looking like the home team at the moment. In goes the cross. No, too near the keeper. Even De Gea's taking that one. But I mentioned the keeper. Shoot on sight. Surely that is the instruction tonight. He is a dodgy keeper all of a sudden. And if we've got the ball on the edge of the box, just pull the trigger because he's going to fumble it.
Great stuff. Pull the trigger, says Pinky. A couple of little things I want to mention from the last couple of minutes there. Firstly, a lovely little 1-2 in the centre of the park between Noble and Fornells, which looked great. And then another one of those superb tackles by Ben Johnson. He made one in the 27th minute to steal possession in dangerous area for us. So Ben Johnson, Rio, doing okay again tonight so far?
They just equalised.
Okay, we got a goal. Rio, talk us through it.
Yeah, they had a free kick. It's kind of fed its way through to Greenwood in the penalty box, and it's a pretty simple finish, to be honest. It was a bit lax of that from us. They're just trying to replay now. Pogba into Rashford and Greenwood interchange. Pretty simple finish, but we should have been a lot tighter. We should have cleared that at some point.
Yeah, it's a simple goal, and I should also
left his man there.
Should also point out that it scored in exactly the same time as we conceded against Watford the other day. So within the opening 5 minutes and a few seconds of the second half, Briz.
Yeah, I think Royce should have done better there as well. He stands off a Pogba first off, then puts a kind of half-hearted tackle in, and they break through into the box. It's typical West Ham, isn't it, really? Again, we've done all the hard work in the first half. We lapsed concentration, and all of a sudden we're 1-1. And now they're looking like there's only one team in it at the moment. And it's not us.
Once again,
luckily the chicken wire over the TV screens in the pub did its job. The screens are still intact, but the locals aren't that happy, it's fair to say.
The peasants are revolting in the rising sun, it seems. And not for the first time. It's Manchester United 1, West Ham United 1. Our lead lasted for about 6 minutes, I guess, in total. About the same. Once again, West Ham conceding within the opening 5 minutes of the second half. And Manchester United are now, they've got the bit between
bursting into the box. Oh, got a shot in, but it got blocked. And Rice has put the loose ball came down, and Rice had a go on the volley, but went over. Good run there from Bowen though. Lovely ball out to him from, I think was that Noble, yeah. No, Bowen beat his fullback twice. Williams, I think that was. It's actually beaten him 3 times. Got the shot in, got blocked, fell out to Rice. Not a bad effort on the volley. Wasn't that far over. So still liking this match yet.
Yeah, encouraging signs for West Ham. Couple of things that I've spotted there, Rio, in that move. First of all, one of the things that Mark Noble is always chastised for is being a little bit ponderous on the ball, but he picked the ball up in midfield there, took one touch, laid it out straight away to Bowen, the ball moving immediately. And then it also looked like Bowen had fumbled that, but it kind of helped him to beat his man. But good stuff from Mark Noble, from the skipper. Yeah,
no, I think this slightly more advanced role suits him ideally at the moment. It prevents the last-ditch tackles, which earn him yellow cards galore. But it also allows him to be more kind of proactive in his passing, and that's a prime example of that there.
Oh.
Good block from
An interesting comment on the live chat as well. Not one that I necessarily agree with, but Suab Khan's put, Noble's going to play less and less, so it's smart for him to share penalty duties. It'll give Antonio a massive boost, and he seems to be a confidence player. I think it was great captaining.
Interesting comment. What do we think about that?
Not buying that.
No. Briz, what do we think of that viewpoint? Good to share the penalties with Antonio, or while Mark's out there, keep him on them?
Yeah, Mike Noble's our penalty taker. Let him take the penalties. I don't agree with that at all.
Okay. Keep your opinions coming, Sue. Ignore this lot. They all disagree anyway. But it's always good to hear a different view. So thank you for your contribution. Keep them coming. Anyone who's watching the stream, good to have you all with us. Let us know what you're thinking of the game, what you think of the stream, either on the YouTube stream or on the match thread on Knees Up Mother Brown. Let us know what's.
I'm getting comments coming in about Diop going to sleep for their goal.
Yeah.
So the finger squarely being pointed at it's a Diop for their goal. Not sure if other people see it that way, but he's a player that I think, I wouldn't say came with a big reputation. He certainly came with a big price tag.
Yeah.
And I'm not sure he's delivered for us.
Yes. There's a few times, hasn't there, been this?
That's a good touch.
No.
Oh, dangerous looking cross there. I think it might have been the aforementioned Diop. Just got a little touch on it to take it away from the Man United player coming in, looking to get on the end of it. We're giving it away a little bit too much, trying to come out of our own defence again, and it's just inviting them on. And as we saw with the goal, you can only do that so many times with them. We actually robbed them for once, so that's well played Fornals to keep that alive.
I think all that stemmed from Pablo Fornals giving the ball away rather too easily. Briz near the halfway line, 90 seconds or so ago.
Yeah, we've just got sloppy again. Watched it a minute ago. Another half-hearted tackle from Rice on the edge of the box. Thankfully, we got the ball clear, but we're doing that thing that West Ham always do, where we just go into blind panic the moment we can see.
Oh, get up, you cheat!
There's never a penalty in a million years. Referee's given it.
That should be a yellow card because he's overrun the ball and he's just thrown himself to the ground. It's like there's a good foot distance between him and
a million years.
Yeah, and he's looked up. Hopefully, well, this is what annoys me. The laws are quite clear. If a player seeks to deceive a referee in that manner, it's a yellow card. Why isn't that a yellow card?
But you never see it, do you? How often do you see those given? I mean, it is an absolutely shocking dive. I'm trying to see who it is. I mean,
it was Williams, the youngster Williams.
Let's give the officials some credit here, though, Gnome. I think on this occasion, you've seen them given before. I know it's a stupid one, but you do sometimes see them given, and especially at Old Trafford. But the referee's not bought it.
But the point is, they'll keep on doing that because the referee's only doing half a job. He's not giving the free kick or the penalty. Do the full job, book him. He won't do it again, will he? Certainly not in this match.
No, that's a fair point. I just wonder why. You don't see that rule adhered to very often at all, do you? The amount of dives, that was why it was brought in, was it not? Because it was supposed to prevent that from happening. But
You do. I mean, I've seen Lanzini get punished for it,
Sure,
quite rightly
sure.
so.
Yes, it does. It doesn't seem to happen to the big clubs,
but I mean,
very often.
The one time it happened, where they were looking for retrospective action against Salah. I think it was last season where he got a shocker. He got away with one against Newcastle, which a penalty was given, and the Premier League came out with this statement that they wouldn't be taking retrospective action because there was a little bit of contact, and in line with their rulings on that, then they weren't going to revisit it, which is all very well, except for a little bit of contact the contact has to be sufficient to impede the player, and there's no such rule in any case. They just made it up to avoid giving Liverpool a suspension that was due. So.
Yes. We'll leave that one there, Gnome. Otherwise, I can see us going into another Liverpool diatribe again, and rightly so. I don't disagree with you. But you're absolutely right. I mean, you make some very good points there, of course. Yeah, we are rapidly approaching 2/3 of the way through the game. We were winning 1-0. It was looking good for about 5 minutes, and then we conceded within the opening 5 minutes of the second half. So we're back to pretty much where we have been, Briz, since the start of the game. What's happening on the match thread, Briz? I mean, what's the reaction to that goal? A lot of disappointment, or is it kind of a case of, well, it was coming anyway?
A lot of praise for the goal, actually, said it was actually just one of those goals you got to hold your hands up and say it was a good effort. Diop seems to be getting the lion's share of the blame for it. And there's outrage at the dive. I can't repeat a lot of it on there, but WCP says Williams hasn't been around long enough to get that call. But I mean, most people are agreeing with us that the dive was blatant. There should be some punishment for it. But quite interesting. But it's certainly still quite optimism, I think, on the forum at the moment. Nothing's disastrous.
Yeah, and why not? We are 2/3 of the way through. We're holding our own at the moment. All right, we've not seen an awful lot of ball again since the half-time break, but as Pinky always says, rightly so, the only stat that matters is that one that's in the goals column. And at the moment, it reads 1 for Manchester and 1 for West Ham. So probably, I guess, Rio, would both teams take that result? Because it puts Man United in third and puts us safe. I mean, it's what we're looking for, isn't it?
I think we'd take it. I don't think Man United would. As much as we like to think that where they're equivalent at the moment, they're still a long way in front of us, and they've got that mentality where they want to win everything. So I think they're going to go for the throat.
And of course, Man U, Pinky have got quite a tough away game on the final day of the season. They go to nearly said Filbert Street there. Showing my age. The King Power Stadium, as the ground's now known, and that's almost a winner takes all, isn't it, for the Champions League?
Absolutely, and both teams are in a position in that game whereby they'll be keeping a close eye on the Liverpool-Chelsea game later this evening, but it is quite tight in terms of qualification for the Champions League since the Court of Arbitration for Sport backed Manchester City. I think a number of the clubs were banking on City getting expelled from the Champions League.
Yeah.
It just goes to show in this crazy season, the people off the field are having quite a lot to say about what goes on the field. So for Man United here tonight, a draw against us isn't good enough because, do you want to go to Leicester and get a win? I don't think so.
Yeah, it's a good point. It's a tough ask, especially Leicester might not have been playing so well lately, but of course, on the final day of the season, they need the points. You wouldn't put it against them beating.
Oh, hey.
No, take us up.
Well, we won the ball back after an attack had broken down, and Noble's in the middle, fed Bowen out left, cut back it. Well, he didn't cut back in, actually. He played it around the outside of Williams, and he just flicked off Williams' foot, and De Gea tipped it over. Good save. Corner's just come across. Antonio's had a shot at goal. And to come out to the end, not quite sure who had a go at that, but it was might be Johnson actually. He had a shot from 35 yards, bless him. Definitely worth a go. But yeah, some enterprising stuff there, and a little bit unfortunate not to have gone 2-1 up there.
Great stuff. Good to see. We were a bit worried a few minutes ago, I think, chaps, weren't we? West Ham was sort of, well,
let's keep this going.
Yeah, I mean, it's actually there's actually a nasty little deflection. I don't know if you saw that on Bowen's shot that made it really difficult for De Gea. So it's actually a very, very good save. Rio, Michail Antonio played 62 minutes now. We said sort of towards the start of the game that he might not last the full 90. I think David Moyes is perhaps thinking about giving him a rest now and throwing Seb Haller into the mix.
If I was him, definitely. We had a nice passage to play a couple of minutes ago. Antonio was the one who kind of with a lax pass that see it break down a little bit. Yep. He's looking leggy, looking very leggy. I think he needs a rest.
Yeah, so perhaps it won't be too long before we see a sub. Of course, still only one substitute so far. Manchester United making that at half time. Still none from West Ham. Breezy, what do you think? Would you agree with Rio there? You think that Antonio is going to be going off soon?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's had a poor game. I think that we've seen the old Antonio tonight where it's head down, run into blind alleys, lose the ball. I don't think he's played well at all tonight. And I think that's, give him credit since the restart. He's been fantastic for us. I think tonight's probably a game too far. He needs a break. Let's get him fit, keep him fit for Villa, and let's stick 6 past Villa on the weekend and send them down. I would sub in for Haller. I'd bring Haller on now. Good
stuff. Pinky, do you agree with that? You think Antonio's been a little bit quiet today and perhaps not looking so confident against one of the top 5 sides?
Yeah, I think he's been much quieter today, but I think that's more to do with the fact that he's been told to mind his defensive duties more than anything.
Yeah.
Moyes is in the mode that says, what, a point up here is perfectly acceptable. Just don't lose heavily. That's the thing today, because whilst we all think we're safe, let's say we'd done a 5-0 defeat here. Suddenly the nerves set in for the home game against Aston Villa next week. So, the priority today was don't get done 4 or 5. Don't go into the final day playing nervously. Be sure of the job tonight, and that means take a point. And Antonio, he has leggy, but I think it's more tactical than anything. I really do.
We're on the attack here.
No.
We're on the attack here. Antonio's got the ball right hand side of the box. Tries to play Bowen in, but it's a poor ball, and Manchester United to clear it.
Okay.
It's been some interesting few moments. So Man United had a break a few seconds ago, and Ogbonna's foot in was basically vital. Timed it really, really well. This is becoming quite an open game if we played this sensibly. Nothing much happening. United just taking the throw in. So.
Okay, thanks for that, buddy. Rio, do we think Thomas Souček's been a little bit quiet tonight? We haven't seen an awful lot of him, have we, really?
Absolutely. He just appeared in that last passage of a play when we had the attack. But apart from that, he's been pretty anonymous, which is very much unlike him. I presume that's indicative of being away from home at Old Trafford, but I'd like to see him a bit more involved. One thing I just noticed a minute ago is that on that last attack we had, Noble made a blistering run on the overlap from about 30 yards in. And the old boy's getting a bit leggy, a bit tired now. And when the ball did break down, it ran to him because I think he was too knackered to run back.
Yeah, just a quick break in what we're doing there. I noticed we have a rogue Leeds United supporter. At least I presume that's who he is, joining us on the chat. It's good to see you back in the Premier League after 16 years. I think we all wish you well for the next 12 months when you'll be in the top flight. We don't expect you to be up for much longer than that. But anyway, good to see you back, Leeds.
Here's a stat for you. Liverpool's income last season was more than Leeds United's been for the 16 years they've been out of the Premier League. That's a fact.
Wow. That is something else. There you go, Leeds United supporter. That's what you've got to live up to when you come back to the big league next year with Bielsa, of course, pulling the strings there. We just seen West Ham a nice little hopeful cross coming from the left from Aaron Cresswell, who's
that was a few minutes ago, Graham.
Well, that's where I am. Yeah, I'm afraid.
Rice has got the taste for this at the moment. He's bought himself another few yards of space there after some good play between Ogbonna and Fornals. Just nice little curler, about a foot wide and maybe 2 foot over. See it better from this angle.
Again, Man United conceding possession there, Breeze, giving the ball away.
Yeah, they're looking tired. We're looking at a better team at the moment. You cannot underestimate Mark Noble's role in this game. He's played some absolutely sublime passing from the position to link up play. Absolutely brilliant. Drinks break now, just in case you were wondering. He's been absolutely fantastic. He's been quiet enough in terms of putting in the tackles and getting back and helping out. But his forward passing once he's been up front has been brilliant.
Great stuff. Just seeing that chance again, and it's only maybe the camera angle made it look closer than it was, but Pinky, it was a good effort from Declan Rice, and almost repeating what he did the other day against Watford there.
Very much so, and I'll repeat, shoot on sight. It's only De Gea in goal. At the end of the day, if I was a Man United fan, I'd be happy if Gnome was in goal. He's in such a dreadful run of form, and that's one of the big decisions the Solskjaer's going to make in the summer.
Believe me, you wouldn't be happy if he was in goal, but anyway.
Okay, fair point. Well presented.
If they desperately need a Spanish goalkeeper in goal, I think we've got one lying around the place, haven't we?
But seriously, he must have some Scottish blood in him somewhere. That's how poor De Gea is at the minute. And I would be saying to our players, whether it's Souček, whether it's Rice, whether it's Bowen, if you're 20 yards out, pull the trigger, because he's going to fumble it. He isn't that good.
Referee!
No?
Rashford's picking up a yellow here. Bowen won the ball well and just basically flicked the ball away. Rashford just cleared him out. Basically, he just bundled him into touch, and then he's got that "who me" look on him as he picks up the yellow. Free kick out on the right, totally needless from Man United's perspective, but we'll take it. Noble standing over the ball at the moment. It's right out on the touchline. Not quite sure what we're going to do with this. Looks like Noble to take.
Thanks, Gnome. Rio, Jarrod Bowen seems to have been targeted by quite a few teams lately, doesn't he?
Yeah, I think that they're doing their homework and they're seeing the work rate and energy he puts in. He's a constant threat down the right-hand side, and he's making us tick a little bit. And I think a bit of rough treatment is what he's going to experience quite a lot of in the Premiership, because he's developing a bit of a reputation as a key player for us.
Yeah. Yes, he certainly is. Been providing plenty of assists, as we mentioned earlier on in the KUMB editorial on site earlier today. He's got his third highest rated West Ham player since Project Restart began, behind Antonio and Thomas Souček.
He's just been fouled again.
Yeah.
Matic has just hauled him down. He was running, admittedly, probably going nowhere, but he was holding the ball up well, and Matic has just tugged his shirt. And free kick in a dangerous position this time. A lot more dangerous than the last one. It's just outside the box on the right-hand side. And we've got Noble's over the ball at the moment. Just wait and see what happens here. And
Matic, of course, took one in the forehead from Ogbonna a few seconds before that.
Took the back of the head when it clashed heads. Nothing foul, but nothing in that. Noble in and good chance. Antonio came in on it, couldn't keep the header down.
But the good news is West Ham still creating stuff, Briz. Looking good. We're doing okay here.
There we are. And I think we're, again, Manchester United are the ones looking tired when I thought we would be. Incidentally, on the forum, Pleistorin wrote that Gary Neville was comparing Noble to Del Potro. It's an interesting comparison. Sorry, Del Piero. Do apologise to Del Potro. And there's a lot of parodies on that now going on the forum of kind of different players
Del Trotter.
be compared to. So that's quite amusing. But yeah, I think we're actually playing really well. I'm glad that we're not sitting deep and just waiting to try and counter. We're actually taking the game to Manchester United. They don't seem to know what to do when we're going forward. It seems to be a kick out and hope that they defend well from the free kick and break again. So yeah, I hope we keep this up. Well, I definitely think we're in need of some substitutes now just to keep that momentum going.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, this even for Moyes, this is particularly late. We're in the 73rd minute. Still no substitutes. And Manchester United, to be fair, only one. Pinky, we mentioned we asked you earlier whether you felt that Manchester United or West Ham would be the happier of the two sides if it finished 1-1. I'm thinking that perhaps it will be neither of those sides, but it will be Aston Villa, won't it?
Probably, but the way I view this, 1-1 for Manchester United is a disaster because that means they're looking at other teams around them and seeing what they can do. So I'm very surprised that Solskjaer isn't making changes at this point in time. For us, I'll say the same as I say every single away game. A point away from home is never ever a bad result. And if I'm David Moyes, the way things are at the minute, I'll be going, yeah, I'm happy with this. Points at Old Trafford. How many teams have gone into this season and come away with a point or 3 points? Not many. Certainly not many in the bottom six.
Yeah, very,
looks like
very.
Masuaku's coming on for Cresswell.
Cresswell's down. We may have an enforced change at the moment. There's a lull, as I say, while Cresswell's getting some treatment, and but Masuaku was on the side, having what looked like instructions read to him. I think we're going to wait and see how Cresswell is. He sort of rolled his sock down and his boots with shin pads off.
I think what Moyes is actually saying there to Masuaku, he says he's asked him to say shed heads, I think.
Masuaku stripped and ready to come on. There is going to be a change. Cresswell's off. Masuaku on for him. So Masuaku resisting the temptation to headbutt what looked like Mike Dean there as he walked on.
I've just seen the stat go up on the screen while you were talking there, Gnome, about Antonio's goal scoring record. Scored in 5 of the last 6 games, a goal in every game apart from against the Norwich, where he scored 4. I mean, that Rio is quite a phenomenal record, isn't it, at this level? 8 goals in 5 games.
And for us especially, we've not had that kind of goal scoring streak from a striker since probably John Hartson, I would have thought. And long may it continue. Just to mention on the live chat from Lewis in the Trouts, fair play to Moyes in the last few games. Still not sure it's the amount to take us forward, but deserves another 6 months to see what he can do. I think that's a little bit harsh on Moyes, to be honest. I think he deserves a lot longer.
Well, it looks like he's going to get a season at least, so we'll see. Bowen down a few moments ago, clutching his ankle. Briz, anything to be worried about there?
No, he's up again now, but it's getting a bit niggly for Manchester United. They've reverted to kind of little stamps, little kicks at the back of the heels. It's all kind of getting a little bit niggly and a little bit nasty. Bowen's had Williams on toast all game, so I'm not surprised that there's been a little bit of afters, a little bit kicking out of him, trying to slow him down a bit. We just got to keep our heads and not retaliate.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's good for West Ham, isn't it? It shows that they're getting slightly frustrated and they're kind of playing into our hands a little bit, perhaps.
Yeah, probably.
Offside.
Yes, offside coming there. Sorry, Manchester United were attacking them, but it's given offside. Yeah, and I think that if we can keep our heads and let them lose theirs, we've got a good chance of not only holding on. Sorry, Haller's coming on now. Can't see who for at the moment, but he's definitely coming on. Antonio took a knock just before, so I wouldn't be surprised to see Antonio go off for him.
Okay, we shall see momentarily whether that transpires. But it's still Manchester United 1, West Ham United 1. We're into the last 15 minutes, last 13 minutes, in fact, of normal time now. Manchester United, I mean, no, maybe beginning to look a little bit frustrated. Their players.
It's a very scrappy period. Another long ball played out towards our right, and Matic just sort of basically just Souček looking at the ball. Matic has just ran into him. So another yeah, again, from their point of view, needless, but from our point of view, welcome. Free kick out the right. It's very, very scrappy at the moment. And yeah, Antonio's coming off for Haller rather. One of the things with Haller is he's had a decent chance pretty much with his first touch for the last few games he's come on, hasn't he? One way or another. So, we've got a free kick in a promising position. Let's see if we can get into the box and put something on the end of that.
Okay. Do you want to talk us through that one, Rio? West Ham have a free kick deep in enemy territory, looking for a second goal.
Yep, Noble flies it in. Ogbono's on the edge of the area. And he gets brought down and it's break back. No, Noble's recovered it. He's kind of strolling around the penalty box. Yeah, we're doing all right here. You know, we'll put the pressure on.
Yeah, we're holding our own. Definitely are.
The break.
Pinky, you still happy with what you're seeing out there? No concerns, nothing to worry about unduly?
No, not really. But the key here is don't get mugged in the last 5 minutes.
Yeah.
You know, don't commit players forward trying to get the 3 points, only to present them to Manchester United in the last 5 minutes.
Johnson's
I would be looking to kill this game off all day long. Just hang on to the ball, frustrate Manchester United, and just put them to sleep, because tonight's the night we deny them Champions League football, because a draw is no good for them whatsoever.
Good stuff. Well, we're getting close to it. We're pretty much just about to enter the last 10 minutes. Mark Cannon, I think, on the YouTube chat, emphasising what you were saying there, Pinky, just saying that this is reminding me of the fixture last year when we were the better team, but got done by a late penalty. So fingers crossed that we don't suffer the same fate this year round. But we're looking good so far, Briz. We're hanging on in there. There's 10 minutes. Well, we're not even hanging on, are we, really? That's a little bit unfair, perhaps.
Yeah, I still think on the balance we've shaded it. Masuaku's on a rampaging run forward now. Just knock the ball out wide. Cross comes into the box.
De
Gea misses that. It's in the back of the net, but De Gea's picked it up quite cleanly. So yeah, I think on the balance of it, we've actually looked a better team overall, which surprised me a little bit. And I think that again is reflected in the fact that Manchester United have had not so many chances on target.
Well, here's the thing. Talking about that. According to the statistics, Manchester United have had more shots on target, 4-3, but overall shots, Manchester United 10, West Ham 12. How often does that happen at Old Trafford? Do we go there and have more chances than they do? Sorry, Rio, that was to you.
Oh, sorry, mate, I'm miles away. Yeah, they're saying take a knock. He brought the ball down really nicely and someone's just gone through the back of him. So we've got another attack for free kick in a potentially dangerous position. I think the key here is we've got to keep an eye on Rashford and Greenwood up front. Full of youth, full of energy still, full of tricks, both got great feet. So we've got to keep really, really a close eye on them two. But this game's for the taking. They've not been a good side. They're incredibly dodgy at the back. We're getting the space and the opportunity. We can exploit this. But like Pinky said, make sure we shore up first. But yeah, the game's here still. The game is here for us.
Fernandes has just been booked. Was it him who fouled Fornals over there?
Yeah,
I think very happy about it. But he's claiming that he's having a go at the ref, claiming that he took the ball, which he palpably hadn't.
Yeah.
And just looking at now, he's moaning and moaning and complaining, and he's that's potential red card actually, because he's actually stuck his head in.
Yeah, I was having a look.
And VAR's having a look at that. This could be interesting because there's definitely forward motion of the head, which is the usual thing, but they've decided it wasn't, of course, because it's Man United. So he's a bit of a lucky boy there, Fernandes.
Do we think there's anything doing there, Pinky, or?
Yeah, absolutely. And I'd like to see Nobes actually go and teach them some manners now. You know, I don't care Bruno this or Bruno that. If it was Frank Bruno, I'd be worried. But I'm telling you, Nobes could go and sort him out straight away. That's bad behaviour there.
Yeah, I'm just watching the rerun of the VAR, a possible violent conduct, red card incident. Nothing given. No surprise, really. But, you know, Rio, we've already had our golden egg
Bizarrely, Masuaku got booked for his part
for
in that
raising
as
his
well.
hand.
Yeah.
Yeah, no
So-
surprise, I guess, in the circumstances. But yeah, Rio, we're not going to get another decision, are we, from the good folks at Stockley Park?
Well, we're certainly not. But we're passing the ball around really nicely. Noble's getting involved in the edge of the area. Haller's getting involved now. We're just being ball's gone back in our half. But when we go forward, we look purposeful. We've got intent. We just got to avoid silly mistakes at the back. And Fabianski's got in his own area. His distribution's been pretty poor tonight, and we kind of got to rub the green with this one.
Okay.
Sorry.
Good stuff. Just a quick word on Arthur Masuaku. On the pitch as a replacement for Cresswell after 74 minutes. In the book for raising his hands after 81 minutes. So on the pitch for precisely 7 minutes before he goes in the book. I think it was the Brighton game, Gnome, wasn't it? Where Masuaku came on and it all fell apart.
Yeah, he's looked like a man possessed, though. He's had one rampaging run. He's come back and won the ball when it broke down. He's just done well to keep the ball in there, and he's got us on the front foot again.
Yeah.
And as Rice is going down the right wing, Blake waiting for a bit of help, I think. I don't think he's going to take people on. But, you know, we're keeping possession fairly well. Let's just, play this on.
Great stuff.
I would actually say we have looked a better team in the second half.
Really encouraging to hear. It's never been a happy hunt. Well, it has been a happy hunting ground for us occasionally, but those victories have been few and far between at Old Trafford. But it's not beyond us now. We're entering the last 5 minutes very soon. It's Manchester United 1, West Ham United 1. The game, as has been said by the panel so far, by the team here, is there for the taking. Someone can go and take all 3 points here. West Ham, of course, this point would mean we are safe from relegation. So I'm sure David Moyes would be very happy with the point. But we would be, of course, even happier here if we could take all 3. And you never know.
I just think Masuaku's playing like a man who's saying to his teammates, it's okay for you lot. If we go down, you're all on short-term deals. You can get away from here. But I've got a 6-year contract and I'm stuck here. Yeah. I think it's something like that he's trying to say.
I was just wondered if it was the opposite. Perhaps he's like got a point to prove, because the speculation this week has been that he's one of the ones who's likely to face the chop this summer. So
chance for the home side there.
Let's just hope he stays on the pitch anyway.
Yeah.
Lewis on the chat says that since you guys started doing these streams, look at the upturn in results. You guys are our lucky charm. I'm not sure it's us. Well, I think the lucky charm is actually in the rising sun with the pink Palermo tonight. Pinky, what are you hiding there? There it is.
It's the circumflex.
The magic boomerang is back. It's brought us good luck for the last 2 games, and it's in the pub with Pinky tonight.
Don't leave home without it. You know, everywhere I go, I take it. And I tell you what, getting that past security at London Stadium is murder. But, you know.
It's not that so much. You've been trying to throw it away for years.
Good point, Gnome. Good point.
Manchester United with the latest effort on goal about 60 seconds ago. If my stream is still that far behind yours, Igalo, the substitute, putting one just narrowly wide of the post. Briz, do we see a winner coming here, buddy? Or do you think, last time we said this, it was the Chelsea game. It was 2-2. I came to you and said, do you see a winner? You said, I think if anyone's going to win, it's going to be Chelsea. And then we promptly scored the winner. So I'm going to hopefully...
if anyone's going to win it, it's going to be Manchester United.
Yes!
I was just thinking on man of the match tonight, actually, and I'm thinking if Sky don't give it to Bowen, there's something seriously wrong. He's played out of his skin tonight, but in the centre of doing everything on the pitch, you just know it's going to go to Matic, so don't you? It's just the way of Sky, isn't it? Manchester United players got to have it.
Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they give it to Pogba for that incredible save in the first half. But it does. It would be surprising if they give it to us. Rio, can you see a late winner coming? And if so, who from?
I can see there's a goal in this game. I think if anyone's going to score, it will be Newton Heath, though. I just think those extra fresh legs, the youth up front, could be
Brilliant.
a massive difference.
Great tackle.
Oh, great tackle. A great ball out to Bowen on the right, who's bearing down into the area. And Maguire comes across and it's just a throw in. Rice got in nicely there, and it was a little bit more on the ball. Perhaps the Bowen might have seen might have given another few yards start. But as for could there be a winner? Yes, I think this could go either way. I really do.
Nothing like sitting on the fence, no.
I'd rather it didn't, but both sides, look capable of actually pinching a goal. It really is that open at the moment.
And on the shout of man of the match, Gnome, Briz has called Bowen. What do you think about that?
Yeah, as the man just tries to get a cross in, but it gets blocked. He's played really well. He's caused all sorts of problems.
He'd be your man?
It's been a good team performance, actually. Difficult to single anyone out, really, as Manchester United try and play a long ball down our left, their left rather, and it just goes straight out. I think the defence have played very well. Rice has been outstanding in midfield.
Yeah.
Bowen or Rice for me, either of those two.
Bowen or Rice says no. Thanks, buddy. Rio, what are your thoughts on man of the match?
I think Bowen's a definite candidate. I'd also like to mention Noble. I think has had a quietly understated but excellent game, particularly when he's had the opportunities around the box with his passing. I'd knock him down a point for giving a penalty to Antonio, but he's been pretty outstanding tonight.
Thank you, Rio. Pinky, your thoughts on the man of the match situation?
Bowen.
No question from Pinky straight away, straight into Bowen. That's 4. I think I'd give it 2 ways myself. I think young Ben Johnson has
had a good game
today. I think it's the fact that we can't really point.
Masuaku, not their son.
No.
Sorry, Masuaku's done some lovely fancy footwork and then given the ball away deep in our territory. It looked very nice, but the final ball's got to find a teammate after that, and it didn't. So not their son.
Yeah, going back to what I was just saying now, I think the fact that we haven't really mentioned him an awful lot, apart from a couple of tackles, generally says that the defenders had a really good game. And I think given the situation, he's been thrown in at the deep end. I think he's been fabulous tonight. I think he's done everything we've asked of him. So I would give it to young Johnson. And also, I would give it to the team at Stockley Park for giving us a bloody penalty after all these years at Old Trafford. So there you go. Yeah. 4 for Bowen, 1 for Johnson. Mark, thank you for your comment on the chat.
Bowen's just been taken out with a late one. The referee's not done anything with it.
He definitely seems to be targeted
as well as Bowen's
staff. Thank you, Mark, for the comment there on the chat. It's lovely to have you with us. Let us know what you think. Keep your comments coming. Briz, let's have a quick look at the match thread on the KUMB Forum. What's going over there? Are people as confident as we are, which isn't very at the moment, I guess, that we can still hang on for a point here?
A lot of criticism of Masuaku at the moment. Since he's come on, we've lost a bit of defensive cover down that side. Nobody's actually predicted a final result, strangely enough. Lots of people getting nervous, though, on the match thread. And that Tommy Hammer says, getting proper nervous now. We'll join the club because I think we all are. It's that time where we will concede 5 in the next 3 minutes or something like that. So, lots of people nervous. Lots of people, again, having a go at Masuaku. I think he's just been the kind of player that you think is going to do something stupid and give the ball away and end up losing us the match. So, fingers crossed. We've got 4 minutes of added time, and let's see how we get on.
3 of the 4 left to go. This is probably a really bad time to point this out, Briz, but both you and I have this down as a 1-1 result in the prediction league. So you never know.
That foul on Bowen that was unpunished has basically Bowen's gone off, and Yarmolenko's come on to replace him. It was a nasty late little thing off the ball that I'm not sure if the referee saw it and played advantage or just didn't give it full stop, but I don't know who it was. I think the camera focused on Fernandez looking a bit guilty. So I'd like to see it again. They're not showing it again, but that could well have been a second yellow.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that. Good stuff. Regardless of how it turns out now, Pinky, this has been another really encouraging performance from West Ham, has it not?
Very much so. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. At the restart, we were staring down both barrels.
Yeah.
The managers rallied the good, consistent performances. Yeah, the first 2 games back, we weren't fit, nor was anybody. A bit of a lottery. But as we got fitter, we've got more consistent, and I'm quite happy with what I'm seeing. Quick question for those watching. I've mentioned the world famous Rising Sun Public House in Brentwood a few times. Who was the former West Ham United player who was the landlord of this establishment for a number of years? So that's a little teaser for you there.
Gnome, do you have an answer there?
That wasn't the one. Didn't Julian Dix have one for a while?
His was up in Shepherd and Neame.
Oh, right.
Wasn't he up in Chelsea way?
Wasn't
Chesky,
Dixie?
was it?
No, not Kincheski. No.
No. I don't know. I'm beaten on that one. Rio, any ideas?
Oh, well played.
I know Tommy Taylor had a few pubs, but I'm not sure if he's that one. Was one of his.
No, not here. I'll put you out your misery. Brian Deere was the landlord of this fine establishment. So there you go. Stag had the pub, and that's why we're all in here this evening.
Great stuff. I first came across Brian Deere when he was at the Shrimpers Bar, actually, when he ran that at Southend United back in the late 80s, that would have been. It was actually, I remember it well, it was when West Ham beat Liverpool 4-1 the night that Ince scored twice. But anyway, we're getting away from this game. But Brian Deere, of course, still going strong. One of our heroes from 1965, the Cup Winners' Cup. And often seen in a boozer, so I've been told over the years. But a top guy nonetheless. We're seconds away now, Gnome, aren't we, from a point?
There'll be a little bit more than the 4 minutes because Bowen was down for about the first of those 4 minutes, getting treatment and then coming off. So, it's we've got a throw in on the left, which the referee's saying, "Come on, get on with it," which. Johnson's sort of eking out the time and taken nicely by Haller on the chest there. So,
yeah, I was just going to say we haven't Briz, we haven't seen a lot of Haller since he came. I know he's only been on for 13, 14, 15 minutes or so, but we haven't seen a lot of him, have we?
No, he's just been taken out. Actually, I think that was a foul there, but the ref's not giving it. He's one of those players.
Oh, referee!
Yeah. Oh.
Fornals has just been fouled, and the referee's given it the other way. I can't. To be fair to Haller, although we've not seen much of him as an attacking force, he's put himself about a bit when we've lost the ball and trying to get it back. So, yeah, he's done a quietly unheralded job there.
Yep. Yeah, tough game really for the lone striker in a match like this, I guess. But Pinky,
and that's the whistle.
That is it.
Terrific point. Terrific point.
Well played,
okay. Pinky, then I'll come to you first of all for post-match analysis. It's Manchester United 1, West Ham United 1. West Ham are officially safe from relegation. That is it. We cannot go down. Officially
safe and well worthy the point. I mean, a terrific team performance where perhaps nobody stood out as the outstanding performer, but nobody actually stood out as the bad performer either. And for my money there tonight, David Moyes has done a number on his opposite number. His opposite number's got an embarrassment of riches. You know, could you imagine having Fernandes in your team, Paul Pogba in your team, Mason Greenwood, Marcus Rashford, David De Gea, even though he's out of form, £80 million Harry Maguire. You're at home and you are scraping a draw against West Ham United. Solskjaer, the only crumb of comfort he's taken from tonight is Champions League qualification is still in their own hands because of the goal difference. It means Leicester have got to win against them at the weekend, whereas a draw would be good enough for Manchester United. So, Solskjaer won't be completely distraught. So his attempts tonight to wear his tracksuit zipped all the way up, looking like a bit part band member of Oasis, which could be his next career, is all well and good. The losers tonight are Leicester City because they really will have it all to do to get into the Champions League now.
Yeah, good stuff. The result means that West Ham cannot finish any higher than 15th in the table, but it also means we cannot finish any lower than 16th, I believe. So that's given, as Pinky rightly points out, given the situation in the start of June, just before Project Restart. We were on 27 points, the same as Aston Villa and Bournemouth. Since then, we've accrued an extra 11 points. I think it is 38 we're on now. Bournemouth have taken 4, Villa have taken 7. So full credit, I think, Gnome, to David Moyes and his boys, and especially tonight.
Fair play. I'm not sure if this has carried on onto all Sky Sports channels, but they've gone away from our match straight over to Anfield, which I believe kicks off, was it 8:15, whatever it is. So I haven't actually got any post-match interviews coming up on my feed at the moment. I'm just channel hopping to see. Obviously, I'd like to know, the thinking behind the penalty, but fair play. Getting back to the original question, fair play. There's still been occasions where I thought, we need the substitution now, and he's been 5-10 minutes too late making it. Yeah. But it's like he's learned that lesson. Against Watford, for example, we were on the ropes a little bit in the early part of the second half, and he did make the change, and he made it at the right time, where Haller coming on changed the shape of the team, and it meant that we were enforcing our game on them rather than vice versa. So, fair play to him, and let's see what he can do now with a proper pre-season and a whole start rather than coming into firefight. That's his next stage, and we can then judge him on that properly.
Great stuff, and of course we can now safely look forward to that. There is no possibility, Briz, whatsoever that West Ham can be relegated now. What are your views upon the final whistle, looking back at what we've just seen?
I think we did well. I know we both predicted a draw before the match, and I'd like to say that was great hindsight from both of us. But
5 points, count them. 5 points.
But no, I think we did well. I don't think there's always an expectation when you go to Old Trafford that you're going to be dominated by the Manchester United team and you're going to win on a lucky break. I don't think that was us tonight. I think we took the game to them. I don't think they knew what to do with us. I'm not sure if they worked out how to play against us. I thought we were the better side for good periods of the game. I think it's a fair result, to be honest with you. And it's going to be interesting now to see what both teams do next season, because obviously Manchester United may, depending on results, not be in European places. So they may have to think about how they set up for next season. We're definitely safe. So I think that's now the hard work starts in terms of bringing players in. I'm not sure how much money we're going to have. There always was hinting at maybe only 3 players the other day, which is going to be interesting. And it'll be interesting to see who comes up. And I've just given an eye on the championship scores as well. And both Charlton and Luton are losing at the moment. So down at the bottom, that makes it quite interesting. At the top, all the teams are drawing at the moment. So no change at the top there. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how competitive the Premiership is next year, and whether or not teams do invest in the transfer market or don't, depending on what effect the COVID crisis has had on them.
Yeah, good stuff. I should point out, of course, that we are going to be here for a little bit longer, just looking back at tonight's game and the ramifications, what it means for West Ham going forward. But Briz is going to keep an eye on the championship scores for us at the same time. It is, of course, a huge night in the old, what we used to call Division 2, with everyone playing their last game of the season. And I think there's only 3 or 4 teams that haven't got a say in the promotion or the playoff or the relegation fight. So a really, really interesting night there in the championship. Rio, come to you last, my friend, for your thoughts on tonight's game. We've gone to Man United. We were expected to struggle. We've taken a point and we've looked fairly comfortable, I think, and we've survived for another season in the Premier League. Your thoughts, please, sir.
I think the general consensus since the restart, and obviously the stats back up, that in the league, Man United have been one of the form teams. They've rejuvenated since the breakdown. The likes of Greenwood and Rashford have come into their own, blossomed as players. Fernandes has been an absolute find for them, and actually been probably one of the Premier League's best players since the restart as well.
Yeah. And
we've gone there. We've not looked second best at any stage. We've picked up a well-deserved point. We could easily have won it. It's a thoroughly professional performance, one we should be proud of. And if this is the way that we're going to shape up under Moyes for the coming months and when the season restarts, then fair play to him. I'm looking forward to it now. I'm backing the man because the last 6 games, 7 games, he's turned us around, and we look a decent outfit.
Yeah, it's often been said that Moyes struggles against the big teams, and the last few games we've seen against those in the traditional, I can't really qualify Arsenal as one of the top 6 now, but we put in a really solid performance against Liverpool. At their ground, only went down 3-2 on the 24th of February. Arsenal, of course, we were holding them until the very, very last few minutes when one of those controversial VAR decisions went against West Ham to give Arsenal the points. Again, only beaten by the odd goal at the Emirates. Tottenham was a bit of an aberration, to be fair, but we're not really going to call them a big team, are we? But look at recent weeks. Chelsea, chasing the Champions League, come to West Ham, sent home with their tails between their legs, beaten 3-2 by a fine performance by Moyes' West Ham. Tonight, we've seen Moyes' West Ham go to another Champions League challenger, Manchester United, and comfortably take a point. That's one of the things that we've always had an issue with, isn't it, really, sort of not performing against the big boys. Do these last couple of results against, as I say, Chelsea, Manchester United, and perhaps looking back a little further to those Liverpool and Arsenal games, give you renewed hope for next season against the teams we traditionally perform poorly against?
A little. I think what we need is a bit more consistency and not be looking at matches that dividing them into the big teams and the lesser teams.
Mm-hmm.
We always seem to have a season where we'll do well against these so-called big boys, and then not bring the A game to the so-called lesser lights.
Yeah, no consistency. Yeah, that's the key.
I'd like to see a bit more consistency, but clearly we've got a squad there, and it's difficult to make judgments about next season based on this purely because of the completely ludicrous situation we find ourselves in, playing football at the end of July. We were improving before the lockdown, and the lockdown seemed to sort of set us back a few weeks, and we finally got back to where we were. We weren't getting the results just before lockdown, it has to be said. I mean, we lost to Arsenal, a game we should have won.
Mm-hmm.
And it's this season has been so unusual that I think we should be guarded against using it as any sort of guide to the future. Because it's just been completely off piste sort of thing. I mean, I've just got the news thing come up on my screen in front of me now, and it's Rangers versus Motherwell friendly pushed back 2 hours due to a delay in coronavirus test results. I mean, you get sort of delays for the crowd can't get in. Well, this is obviously almost the opposite, and it's just how sort of weird it all is. So but
yes, it's definitely been an
I
unusual
wasn't
season,
encouraged by today. I mean, but I just caution against using it as too much of a yardstick given the unusual circumstances.
Yeah, very, very good point. Well made. Be interesting to hear. We've seen quite a few more of you join us on the live chat. Join us on YouTube with the game finished. Good to see you all coming on. Rio, of course, is keeping you all entertained on there, as I can see. I'm having a bit of bants with Jack Grealish. I'm sure it's not the real one, but you never know. Let us know who you felt was man of the match tonight. It's been a solid West Ham. As Pinky said, no one has really disgraced themselves tonight. It's been a really solid team performance from West Ham. But it would be interesting to see who you picked as your man of the match. All the guys here tonight felt that Jared Bowen should be in with a shout. 1 or 2 calls perhaps for Declan Rice, Mark Noble, Ben Johnson, VAR even. But it seems that Bowen was, the main man that cropped up in discussions here. So let us know what you think on the KUMB forum in the match thread, and also on the live chat on Yahoo, who you felt was man of the match. Breeze, going back to the KUMB forum, looking at the match thread, what are the latest opinions on there? I'm guessing everyone like us is reasonably happy with what we classed as a decent point here tonight.
Yeah, again, I think that the general overall feeling is one that we were quite comfortable. I'm just waiting for my thread to refresh now because I've been looking at the Championship. So while I wait for the thread to refresh, just to let you know that as it currently stands, Trotton are losing 2-0 at Leeds, but will stay up because of Wigan's 12-point deduction in the Championship.
Yeah,
So
of course. I think Wigan have to win tonight, don't they? Now.
Yeah, Wigan have to win, and they're drawing at the moment. So Trotton, if Wigan score, Trotton go down, I think, tonight, based on current scores. So that's quite interesting. So a lot of people wondering why Anderson didn't get on the pitch. My thread's back up now. A lot of people complaining about no interviews with the players or the managers, just straight to Liverpool, which I think is right. But most people seem fairly happy with the way that we played tonight. Lots of praise for Johnson, as you said earlier on, Graham.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's tough to call anyone out there Pinky, isn't it? As you said, everyone seemed to play well, but a really good team performance. And I don't think there's anyone who really you could criticise tonight, was there? I mean, if you're being really picky, I suppose you could say Fabianski's distribution.
Sorry, boss, QPR just scored against West Brom.
Yeah, I've actually it's just come up on my stream. I've got that game on stream, and you've pointed me towards it. I'd missed that. Yeah, it's 34 minutes gone. Albion 0, Queen's Park Rangers 1. I'm just trying to see if there's any West Ham interest in this because, of course, we've got Grady Diangana on one side, and actually is Hugh Gill playing? I'm not sure if Hugh Gill's playing tonight. I can't see it on there, but the goals actually, the shots come in from the edge of the box. It's been closed down by 2 players. The ricochets fell really kindly to whoever it was who shot, and he's just thumped it straight back in the net from the rebound. So West Brom 0, QPR 1. It's the Rangers number 14, but I can't see it's such a small screen. But Slaven Bilic takes his glasses off, mops his brow, and probably lost a few more hairs from that rather dodgy transplant that doesn't seem to be working particularly well. It's Ryan Manning who scored for QPR. So
at the moment,
Brentford, they need a result to, of course, Brentford or even Fulham. I think could still be automatically promoted tonight.
At the moment, it would be Brentford who are promoted if it stayed the same.
On goal difference, I think it is.
Yeah.
Excellent. Okay. That's the Championship. Slaven looks a very worried man. We've all seen that face at West Ham a few times before. But coming back to David Moyes, Pinky, we sort of spoke about it in recent mod pods, but he's really done himself a lot of good, hasn't he, over the last few weeks?
Very much so, and no more so than with the 2 signings that he's made. You know, Bowen and Souček, you could argue, have been the catalyst that's lit the fire under Antonio. You know, which again he's got a better tune out of than the previous manager, and so he's actually made the necessary changes. And even if you include putting Noble further up the pitch, where he can hurt the opposition more than he can hurt us. You know, Moyes has done a very good job since the restart, no doubt about it, because we were looking vulnerable. He's turned it around. He's earned his chance to do a bit better. I mean, for me, Souček is the real interesting signing, because the difference between 16th place and 8th place are the 10 goals that Souček is going to give you every season. That's the difference. If we take out the Roberto factor last autumn, where we really collapsed, and just say that is not likely to happen again. And so what's going to move us up the table, as opposed to move us down the table, is goals from midfield. And we know that Noble hasn't traditionally chipped in with more than just penalties. To have a player like Souček signed, who could chip in with 10 goals a season from the middle of the park, that's what moves you up from 16th to 8th. And therefore, a lot of the work that he might have had to do in this summer's window, he's already done. Mm-hmm. So I don't see us, as we go into the window, needing to sign 15 players. I think 3, maybe 4 will do us, and they'll see us in the top half of next season's Premier League. So I think hats off to David Moyes. And I think he really has just got a case of people see him as an old-fashioned manager because they want the latest exciting thing.
Yeah.
But actually, drill into the facts. He's made us more positive. He's made decisions. He's made some good signings. give the guy a chance, and I'm quite encouraged. I'd say if I was putting money down right now, I'll put money on West Ham being top half next season, no question. No question at all.
That's really encouraging stuff from Pinky. I mean, I think it's fair to say that Moyes' stock has never been higher since he's been at West Ham than it probably is tonight, having done the job yet again for the second time, really. Following it's not 2 seasons in a row; it's 3 seasons ago. Of course, he did it with Arnautovic and that team, and he's done a fabulous job again. Top half, Pinky thinks next season with a couple of new players brought in just to strengthen the squad, and I just think it's great to see this enthusiasm around the club. We're often accused here of being a little bit dour in our outlook and not being positive enough, but here we all are. We're all really looking forward to next season, and long may it continue. I think that's really, really good, and full credit to David Moyes for putting us in that position. I just want to touch on something you said there, Pinky. You were talking about Thomas Souček. Here's a stat for you. Souček has won the most aerial duels per 90 minutes in the Premier League since Project Restart. He wins on average 6.6 headers per game. And the nearest to him in terms of that statistic is Philip Billing, who's won 3.9. And that is something else. It just shows what he's bringing to West Ham. The fact that he's, almost doubling the amount of aerial challenges he's winning per match over anybody else in the Premier League. That really is quite...
Yeah, and I think where that makes the difference is in the teams in the bottom half of the table.
Yeah.
Because if any of the sides are going to resort to relatively agricultural football, it's the lower half. Manchester United aren't going to resort to that. Liverpool aren't going to resort to that.
Yeah.
And maybe it's the reason why Souček tonight was relatively quiet compared with what we've seen so far. So perhaps there's an element of flat track bully in him. It doesn't matter, because if you beat the teams in the bottom half of the table comfortably, you'll be in the top half of the table. And really what I'm saying is, you don't have to beat Man City 2-0. You don't have to beat Liverpool 3-0.
Yeah.
What you have to do is beat Norwich. You have to beat Aston Villa. You have to beat teams like, dare I say it, Southampton, perhaps. They're the teams that we've got to hunt down. Everton, maybe. They're the teams we've got to be more competitive than. They're the teams we need to actually be scoring against and turning draws into wins and defeats into draws. And if you do that, we'll climb the table. Fair play to Moyes. He signed a good player there, and I'm quite happy with what I'm looking at. And I'll stress, I didn't want David Moyes to come back. He's proved me wrong so far, and hats off to the guy. Give him another year at least for him.
Yeah, no, it's good. Some good points. And to be fair, I'm not sure there are too many who are looking forward to Moyes coming back. We were all very critical of the board when they made that move, and even if they did it for the wrong reasons, I think the jury's still out on that one. He was obviously the cheap choice at the time, but it's worked out. And as far as Moyes goes, full credit to him, I think. So long may it continue. Gnome. Thomas Souček.
Sorry, just apropos nothing. Since we're being denied any sort of sight of any interviews or anything from Sky, cat amongst the pigeons time in the Championship, Barnsley have just taken the lead at Brentford, which will cheer Slav up a little bit.
Yes, just seeing the goal now.
Yeah, so that's it's an interesting situation there. Whilst we're on the subject of Sky, who couldn't leave Old Trafford quickly enough for Liverpool. I'm surprised they waited till the final whistle, to be honest. But we're talking about man of the match. I don't know. Did anybody see Sky actually give it to anybody? I had the volume turned down, and if the caption came up, I missed it. Just wondering who Sky had given it to. If anybody picked that up,
I certainly didn't, but I'll.
They couldn't be bothered. Yeah,
check
let's
the
go to
website
Liverpool.
and see.
The official Premier League one went to Mason Greenwood.
Really?
Of course it did.
Really?
Little bit of magic for that goal, but apart from that, we kept him pretty quiet, I thought.
Yeah, no. It's
a very strange one.
Says it all,
No,
really,
what I
doesn't
was
it?
going to ask you there, buddy,
sorry,
was
sorry, boss. West Brom have just scored as well now, so that's leveled up there. And also Wigan have scored against Fulham, so
wow.
that's going to send Charlton down if it stays the same. So that's very interesting.
It's going to be one of those nights, isn't it, where the league table is going to be changing every few seconds.
Yeah, and back to Anfield. I mean, forgive me, sick note, wherever you're watching this from, if you are watching, please forgive me. But I have never wanted Chelsea to win a game of football in my life, apart from tonight, because I want them to rain on Liverpool's parade.
Yeah.
You know, I can stomach Liverpool being champions just.
By the way,
Do you know what?
Garner scored for West Brom.
Chelsea 3, Liverpool 0 tonight would do me just fine, because it'll just take the gloss off it. And that's what I need to see tonight. So come on, you Blues.
Yeah, wouldn't it be good? Just confirm what Gnome's saying there, Pinky. Dean Garner scoring for Albion. He's taken the ball, he's picked the ball up on the edge of the box, and he's just drilled it between the goalkeeper's legs. And we're talking about buying new players, as Pinky was there, Rio, but we've got a ready-made winger to come in there, haven't we, next season?
Yeah, I mean, when he was with us last season, he looked a really good prospect, but he was far too lightweight. He needed to sharpen up, get a bit of bulk about him, get used to the rigours of like regular first-team football. This spell's done him a world of good, and long may it continue. Hopefully, we could save ourselves a few bob if he can produce the same goods in the Premier League.
Yeah, he's been.
There's just a couple of things I'd like to point out as well. Firstly, on the live chat, thanks Steve Spraggs, who says Ben Johnson has a great future in front of him. Johnson's man of the match. Hammer Ted, good evening, gents. Very tidy performance. Oggy Rice Bowen superb again. 4 nails put in the real shift. Matic was a fuck all game and had to get away with it. And Kieran Devaney, morning from Brisbane. 4 nails and Bowen put in a great shift. So nice to hear comments from that. There's a couple of things I picked up from the game. First was a really bizarre booking for us. Now, Masuaku, he got done for raising his hands, yeah?
Yeah, look that way, yeah.
Yeah, now given his resemblance to Larry Blackman from Cameo, who implored the world to raise your hands like you don't care, isn't he just playing to type? That's a very strange reason to go into the referee's notebook, if you ask me.
Just missing the cod piece, presumably.
Yeah, well, we don't know what's underneath them shorts, do we?
I'm not sure we'd like to know.
This season can't come to an end quickly enough, can it?
Just a quick word on Grady Diangana there. That was his 8th goal for Albion this season in his 31st appearance. So that's really encouraging looking ahead to next season. Breeze, is he likely to take Anderson's place? Because it looks like the Brazilian might be shipped out. Does it not this summer?
Who knows? Just to let you know that Ben Johnson got Sky's man of the match.
Oh, he did. Fair play there.
They did mention that he's Paul Parker's nephew, by the way, just to kind of level it up a bit.
Right.
But he did get man of the match. And they put all the stats down underneath it. I don't know so much. I think I don't think Moyes fancies him very much. I think he'll let him go. I think we'll see probably him bring someone else in the Championship. He's one of those players that on his day is a world beater, but he doesn't have enough of those days.
Yeah.
And I've seen him watched him a couple of times in the Championship now, and he fades really quickly. If he can't dominate the fullbacks quite quickly, he'll fade out of the game and quite often get taken off. So I think they'll be looking to replace him with someone different next season.
Yeah, I guess the point is with that he's probably one of the assets we've got who can fetch a few bob as well, which can be reinvested into the squad, I suppose. It's we shall see what happens anyway. As I said, Grady Diangana scoring his 8th goal of the season. There, one thing I wanted to ask you actually, Breeze, going back to the conversation we were having a few minutes ago about Thomas Souček. I've seen a few people say that he's essentially David Moyes' new Fellaini. Do you think that's fair, or do you think that's a bit wide of the mark?
I think it's a bit wide of the mark. I think he plays in a similar way to Fellaini, but I don't think he's anywhere near the kind of quality of Fellaini. He might be on a bit further in his career. I don't think he's the quality. I think Fellaini's one of those players that you kind of undervalue the contribution he makes on the pitch. The number of players that haven't been the kind of flashy Ibrahimoviches and things like that, they've got all the press, that have taken part in teams and literally controlled those teams. Fellaini was one of those, both at Everton and at Manchester United. When he came to Manchester United, he helped steady the ship for Moyes. I don't think he's quite that type of player. He's, I think he's much more attacking than Fellaini was, but he definitely has that kind of mannerism about him.
Yeah, I guess they're kind of a similar build, aren't they? I suppose Fellaini had that little bit of bite and nastiness about him that we haven't really seen in Souček yet. But I guess I can see the similarities in there. Rio, do you see any similarities between the two?
In stature, yeah. I actually think Souček looks a better footballer to me. Fellaini was very much more dominant in the air. When Souček gets the ball on the deck, he looks a much more composed, purposeful player. But I think most of it is based around stature and his ability to get into the box like Fellaini did. So I can see the comparisons, but
not sure, not convinced. I see a scornful expression coming from the rising sun on the face of a Mr. Palermo.
Not at all. Not at all.
Oh, okay. Do you agree? You think there's a viable comparison there?
For my money, I mean, let's start with why we don't want the comparison. We don't want the comparison because people are scared to acknowledge that Marion Fellaini was a very good footballer for Everton Football Club. For Everton, he was terrific, absolutely terrific. For Manchester United, you're having a laugh. And that's about how the two clubs would play their football. You can play a certain type of football at Everton, and you have to play a certain type of football at Old Trafford. Fellaini was never going to be capable of fitting in to Manchester United team. Souček, for my money, he doesn't have the leave the foot in, shall we say, technique that Fellaini had while he's at Everton. So he lacks the aggression and the niggly fouls. But let's be clear. His height gives him some presence in the middle of the park. He's a player that smaller players might find imposing. And when he gets forward, as he demonstrated last weekend, he'll pop up with a header where you need it and get you the goal. And I'm afraid, for my money, what's wrong with being compared with Fellaini at Everton? Comparing with Fellaini at Man United, well, that's just about Fellaini should never have been at Man United.
Yeah.
In the same way, Souček is never going to be at Man United, ever in a million years. Their supporters are going to look at that and say, no, not for us. But that doesn't make him a bad footballer for other teams. And for me, a good signing. And whether he's the new Thomas Souček or the old Marion Fellaini, I don't care. If he can chip in with 10 goals at one end of the park and shore us up at the other end of the park for 13 million, that's got to be money well spent, surely. It has to be.
Well, yeah, you think so. I mean, thinking back to midfielders who have scored 10 goals for West Ham previously, I think you've got to go back to Kevin Nolan, possibly. And then I think before that, it might even be Frank Lampard. And bearing in mind that we sold Frank Lampard 20 years ago for £13 million to Chelsea, absolutely backs up what you're saying there about the value for money, I think, in terms of that transfer. So a very valid point. Thank you, Pinky. Gnome, do you agree with that? Do you see some similarities between the two players?
I see some similarities, although touching on something that Pinky brought up there, I don't see Souček missing 5-6 games a season through being suspended, which I haven't seen, as Pinky rightly pointed out. You don't see that niggly foot left in. You don't see that nasty little elbow in the back as he's running past. And I think Souček is all the better for it. So I can see where the comparisons are, but I think that because Souček hasn't got that nasty little bit of niggle about him, he's all the better a player for it.
Yeah, good stuff. Yeah, definitely seems to be something in there. I'm just having a look now because it looks like we've got David Moyes, some comments from David Moyes from the media coming through. And just to give you a few words on what he's saying so far, talking about tonight, he starts by saying we're moving in the right direction already. We have some good young players, and hopefully we will be given time. And he adds, I thought Manchester United were good, but we were a bit timid in the opening period. We grew into the game and got better. The middle period after Manchester United scored was our best period. With regards to the penalty, David Moyes says he was too far away to see it, but the reaction of the players said a lot. And with regards to the penalty incident, Moyes says, I felt Antonio taking the penalty was the right choice. We wouldn't be in this position without his goals, and I had the feeling he should take one. So interesting stuff there, Breeze. It was Moyes who made the call on Antonio, gave him, we're presuming this was done in training or before the game, but for the first time in years, Mark Noble not given that responsibility. What do you think about that? Moyes obviously holding his hands up there. Do we think he would have done the same if he'd have missed it, perhaps?
I think that's a bit of damage limitation. I think I'm not sure that conversation actually took place. I'm pretty, you have your penalty takers, you have your specialist players, you have your corner takers, your penalty your throws. I don't think that Moyes decided before the game if a penalty came, give it to Antonio. I think after the match, he's seen it happen. It's all gone well for us. And he's, kind of hinted that it was all prearranged and everything was amicable. I'm not sure that's necessarily the case. And I think if he'd have missed it, we might have had a different commentary afterwards.
Rio, do you go along with Breeze? Do you think that might be him stretching the truth a little bit?
Absolutely. I still can't explain why he really took it. And even seeing the replays, I'm still not confident every time he steps up. We know it's him, but he scares the life out of me, Antonio, from 12 yards.
Yeah. Yeah. Pinky, you're always taking responsibility. They're saying it was something they determined before the game went ahead. Do you still think that's a rubbish decision?
I think that's a load of cobblers from the manager, frankly. I think that's a manager who knows they're going to get stick for it, and he's just stuck up for his players, as you'd expect. But my big issue with that is already a story in social media from the usual source saying that Antonio's on a bonus if he gets 10 goals. So that's the accusation there. So the players are only in it for the money, are they? And that's what happens when you make irrational decisions mid-game, that actually people start rumour mongering, all the rest of it, and it's corrosive. And for my money, any decisions on penalty takers are taken before a game. Does anyone seriously think that our captain, Mr. Rock Solid, Mr. Conversion percentage marginally worse than Ray Stewart, is going to say, oh, brilliant idea, Antonio. You take the penalty kicks because you're on a hot streak at the minute, and I'll just stand to one side. You must be joking. It's a load of old baloney. But one thing I will say, just going back to the Fellaini comment, saying, is Souček Fellaini? In many ways, we're asking the question because people are saying Moyes is a one-trick pony. So, Jared Bowen, who's he replaced? Another Moyes signing. Who was the Everton or the Man United player that he's the equivalent of? Or are we actually going to accept that our manager just might have more about him than just trying to recreate what he had nearly 20 years ago at Everton? And I think he might have. So, just a question there: who's Bowen the new version of? Why aren't people asking that question? Because he's been every bit as effective as Souček.
Yeah, he's been absolutely outstanding, isn't he? A really terrific player. And as we were saying earlier, I mean, most of you saw him as your man of the match tonight. A really good shout. Just coming back to Moyes' other comments, there's a few things coming through as we speak. Talking about going forward, Moyes says, I'm under contract anyway. Last time here, I only had a short-term deal. I can see shoots of improvement. The owners see it too, and they understand where we would like to go to. Gnome, judging by that, it looks like Moyes and Mr. Sullivan and possibly Mr. Gold are on the same page. What do you think of that? And also, what do you think, quickly, just going back to the other thing about the penalty, you think Moyes knew anything about it, or that's just good management by claiming that, claiming responsibility, claiming he was aware and that it was his decision?
Taking the penalty question first, I think it might well have been prearranged. The reason for that is when I was watching it at the time, and there was, we were waiting for the VAR, and then the VAR, excuse me, thing disappeared off the screen, and we were just left with a sort of picture of players just stood there, sort of thing. What was noticeable was that Noble had the ball, and when it became clear it was a penalty, he just rolled it towards the spot and walked away. There was no debate between Noble and Antonio.
Yeah.
Which that suggests to me that, it was known right from the start that Antonio was taking that penalty. Now, whether Moyes had said that or not, that's another matter. But I'm convinced that was a prearranged thing. It wasn't discussed and made up on the spur of the moment. It just, there just didn't seem to be that debate. Moving on, what was the other question? We were talking about the owners.
We were saying about Moyes looking like he's on the same page as David Sullivan. They were talking about going forward. Moyes actually saying that he can see shoots of improvement. The owners can see it too, and they understand where we would like to go to. I suppose he's saying they understand where we'd like to go to. It's not the same as saying they agree with me exactly where we need to go to.
They understand where we want to go to. Whether or not there is agreement as to how to get there is another matter. We're already hearing the usual end of season stuff about, don't get excited because there won't be too much money to spend, and players are going to have to leave before they come in. Well, so be it. But I've also saw a comment somewhere I was reading where somewhere along the lines of, well, hang on, we've got to have money because there was about Sullivan put in 30 million or whatever it was in the rights issue was raised, but that just kept us going through the lockdown period. That was needed just to sort of balance the books. That wasn't really sort of adding to the sum of cash available for us to spend. To any great degree. So remember that next year's TV deal, we're actually giving money back to Sky, or at least not paying them over as much as a refund for and this is something that had me scratching my head, as a refund for Sky getting lots more games than they would have had but for the lockdown. That's a nice
strange one.
That's a nice bit of negotiating on the part of Sky. So, but yeah, I think we've done this subject a number of times. We're all we all realise that as good as Johnson looked today, the fullback positions could do with strengthening. We need to sort out what we're doing vis-a-vis how we're going to play for strikers, and sign accordingly. That's going to cost money. How we raise that money? Well, are people going to pay big money for the likes of Anderson, Lanzini? I don't think we're going to get big fees for them.
No, well, I guess we shall find out in due course. It seems, because they've not been used, have they, the last few weeks? That's a pretty good indication, I think, that Moyes sees them as surplus to requirements, as they say. Just touching there, you mentioned Ben Johnson, and Moyes has commented during his post-match presser about young Ben, and he says that I thought he improved greatly today, even from his first game, which I presume is meaning since Project Restart when he came in last week. Moyes says he stepped up and did a great job on Marcus Rashford. Talking about another player in the team, Jared Bowen, again, a player that we all felt did magnificently tonight and produced a superb performance full of pace, energy and running. Moyes says, I thought he was exceptional. Simple as that. He just thought he was exceptional. Something I think we'd all agree with. And Moyes was also asked, someone asked him if he'd learnt much about his players over the last few weeks. And the manager replied, I think if you've not got the quality, then you'll struggle. I think the biggest thing is we had to physically compete athletically. There were good things today. There have been not so good periods, but the players since lockdown have been very good. So quite a bit of praise there. That's it now. It's actually wrapped up the press conference. I'm sure there'll be a few more comments to come from Moyes when the full transcript is published a bit later on. But that's the gist of it. Anyway, he's obviously very pleased. Lots of good words to say about his players. Claimed responsibility for the penalty decision. So yeah, it's encouraging stuff. Briz, I'm going to come to you now. We just want to have a quick look at the forum. We've not been over there for half hour or so, so I imagine there's been plenty of posts added since we last looked at the match thread over on kumb.com/forum. What are the teams saying over there, Briz?
Well, to be honest with you, it feels like one of those days when we've actually won the game. It's the, you know, how the forum reacts, goes a little bit quiet, but actually it's really positive, and it's been like that tonight. So that's not two. It's easy for me to say.
I can never say that one. I can never say it.
Dirty Manx were lucky to get a point. Their goal was good, but we played the better football, especially second half. Bowen, Bonner and Nose are absolutely class tonight. Referee let Matic enjoy himself. David Cross, lovely stuff. Bowen was tremendous, but he got injured. Totally composed and confident team performance. SH saying, my God, they tried their hardest not to give us that penalty, didn't they? Metal Hammer, a bit disappointed in this actually. He's put, well done, West Ham United. The anti-Moyes brigade must be gutted. And just enjoy the evening, can't we? And just enjoy the result, and rather than trying to put people into different camps. And again, it just says, tell you how, it's Simon Paul Thomas says, tells you how far Man United have fallen when they have to cheat and niggle away for a point against us, Champions League team or not. So I think it's kind of really optimistic on the forum, and it does feel a bit like a victory if you read through some of the posts. It's nice to see everyone being positive.
Yeah, I think we could certainly claim it as a moral victory, if not one in terms of number of goals scored. We weren't. You were looking at the pre-match previews from some of the main media outlets, and I think West Ham was seen as a little more than cannon fodder tonight. So well done, Moyes. Well done, team. I think we've done superbly. Rio, you've been keeping an eye on the YouTube chat for us. There is a question there, I think, that someone wanted you to raise, and I think it's probably a good idea if you put it to Mr. Palermo first of all.
Yeah, Kieran Devaney has just asked, do you think Felipe Anderson has played his last game for the club?
Yes. I mean, you know, what the manager's done in the last half a dozen games is demonstrated who's in his thoughts and who isn't. And a player that is not renowned for his work rate, a player that is costing us a lot of money, ultimately, it doesn't make him a bad footballer. It just means he's not the player that we want at West Ham United. And he would be a player that if we could get an appropriate fee for, I'm absolutely certain that David Moyes would say to the chairman, we've got to let him go. And the issue, of course, is the chairman will say, well, I want my money back. Your predecessor said he was a great player, you know, and we're into that debate. But the reality is, just shift him because he doesn't want to work as hard as you need to work in this league. It's that simple. And Felipe Anderson at Manchester United, as the luxury player, they can afford. Felipe Anderson at West Ham United, we can't, either financially or from a team ethic. So I'm afraid he's a player that we need to trade, and I'd like to think it's the last game he's played for us. And just to pick up on the point that Gnome was making there about the TV money, and we'll all be giving money back to Sky or whoever it is in the overseas leagues. One of the real dynamics in this transfer window will be match day income. West Ham United typically take £27 million a year at the gate. That's our current income, because we don't play that many matches. The reality is we're only playing Premier League and probably 3 cup games a year. and it's £27 million. Tottenham Hotspur and Arsenal, whether it's Europa League or Champion League, who might be playing a dozen more matches at home and with much higher revenue, stadium lockouts for stadiums that are empty are crippling them financially. Being absolutely no doubt that Daniel Levy is sat there desperately trying to figure out how he can get bums on seats back in at White Hart Lane. You know, or Josh Kroenke at the Arsenal, he's doing exactly the same. Arsenal are looking at a £96 million revenue shortfall per season that you can't have fans in the stadiums. And therefore, for us as West Ham United, the £27 million, while it hurts, it's hurting other clubs a hell of a lot more. And Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham, probably Leicester City, probably Manchester City. These are clubs that when fans cannot go to games, financially they are crippling those football clubs. And that's going to have a massive impact on the transfer window. And I put a comment today on KUMB. I think that's why we will retain Declan Rice this summer. Because no other club has actually got the readies this summer that they'll say, we're going to buy him. He's not a player that's going to win you the league. He's not the player that's going to make a difference to a top 6 side in that sense. And if our chairman's got everything about him, he'll resist every offer, because they'll all be lowball. Say, we're going to keep Declan for at least one more year. So the stadium lockouts are probably good news for West Ham United.
Just cutting in there very quickly, West Brom have taken the lead against QPR, and it's come from another bit of Diangana magic. He's just left 3 opponents standing on the right wing, made a surging run to the left of the Queen's Park Ranger penalty box and put a low cross in that's been converted. So Diangana scores one and makes an assist. So again, great stuff for West Ham. Looking forward. No, I'm going to come to you on that question. The question coming from the chat: do you think Anderson will be here next season? What are your thoughts?
I don't think he will. I don't think he wants to be. I think he's Moyes clearly lost patience with him after the first few games in the restart. As Pinky says, he doesn't fit in with the team ethic that is a Moyes trademark wherever he's been, or it's tried to be a trademark wherever he's been. And you know, when you look at Bowen today, who's obviously a danger going forward, but you know, he loses the ball. His first thought is, "Oh, well, that sod back," you know, and he'll cause problems left, right, and centre, because that's why he was getting kicked all over the place today, because he was really sort of like fighting for every ball, and you know, it was just you just don't see that from Anderson. He loses the ball, that's him sulking for another 5 minutes. You know, unless there's anything happens. I mean, I'm not sure who's fit for Sunday, isn't it? But unless anything sort of weird and wonderful happens for that, and I can't see him playing again. Yeah, at his greatest, and when we're playing well and we can afford that luxury, then yeah, I mean, he's had some superb games for us. I remember when we did Newcastle 3-0 up at their place. Yeah. You know, he just had fun that day. But we've spent most of this, well, up till today, technically, this season, we've spent effectively in a relegation battle. Yeah. He's not the sort of player you need in that sort of situation. So I think it'll be on his way. And if we can get a half-decent fee for him, yeah, bite their arms off.
Okay. So, yes, I guess the general consensus then is that it looks like Anderson has indeed played his last game for us. But I would imagine that if that means that we could keep Declan Rice in the squad next season, that I think each and every one of us, would bite their hand off to enable that to be the case. So we are going to wrap up tonight, guys. We're going to call it a day there. It's been a really good night again for West Ham United. Not only have we gone to Old Trafford and we've taken a very good point and deserved it as well. As I said earlier, we had more shots than Manchester United, 12 to their 11. And it must be some considerable time since we've gone up to Old Trafford and done something like that. So proof there that we were well worth the point, just that stat alone. It is, of course, a point that means West Ham can no longer be relegated to the Championship. Even if we do lose 20-0 to Aston Villa in Stratford on Sunday, it makes no difference. Of course, we're hoping that we can end the season on a flurry and score another 3 points and finish the season in 15th place, which is where we are now, having moved back above Brighton. It's been a really, really good last couple of weeks for West Ham. Wins, vital wins against Watford and Norwich that have put us in a really strong position. That point tonight, as I said, ensures we cannot be relegated. We will be back, of course, on Sunday for the final game of a very, very bizarre season against Aston Villa. Of course, our visitors have it all to play for. They need to better Watford's result on Sunday. Watford play Arsenal. Villa have to better Watford's result to remain in the Premier League. But West Ham will, I'm sure, be doing all that they can to ensure that it's Villa that fall, not the Hornets. We shall, of course, as I said, we will be back here on Sunday afternoon for that. Please do come and join us once again. We thank you all for joining us today on the stream. It's been great fun chatting with you, great fun reading your comments, as it always is, and also to everyone on the KUMB Forum, on the match thread, who's let us know what they thought of the game. It has finished. Manchester United 1, West Ham United 1. The Hammers are safe. We can sit here and enjoy the game on Sunday without any concerns after all. Isn't that going to be great? Thanks all, everyone. We'll see you all again next week. There you go. Bye-bye. Oh. Come on, you